Welcome to the Deucecast Extra. We're here on a Thursday, as I alluded to on Tuesday, to talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. So we are going to dive in, and this, as I put in the description, all spoilers all the time with this. This is something we're going to be doing every once in a while with Marvel movies, DC movies, maybe Indiana Jones. So we'll see. Red, you're cringing at the thought of Indiana Jones.
Shudder.
The new Lord of the Rings movies.
There you go.
No, that's too far from now.
We do Aquaman, and then halfway through we just get up and walk out.
I am more excited about doing Aquaman than ever now.
Makes me want to see it more.
It makes me want to see it more. We've heard it.
I mean, the first one was just cheesy fun, so come on, bring on bad. So
you
bad
got
it's
an
good.
octopus playing the drums, and you got me. You got my butt in the seat.
So let's go around and introduce everyone. Garrison, what we'll just like high level before we dive too deep into the movie. Overall thoughts, just like real quick. Then we'll move to Roth.
Okay. I think, like everyone here, I've got issues with the film.
Okay.
But maybe it's just because I came into the film with such low expectations after seeing all the reactions.
Okay.
I had a fun time.
Okay. Yeah.
I did. I walked out of the theater being like, all right, whatever. I mean, it's an Ant-Man film. It's supposed to be important. It is sort of important. The thing I came away with the film saying was, wow, I really like Jonathan Majors, and I really think he's a heck of an actor who can put on a lot of, just you watch from show to show, Lovecraft Country to Loki to Quantumania, all completely different performances, and you can see that he is trying to give each individual Kang its own individual performance, which I'm really excited to see how he does that in the future. But yeah, Marvel's got some things to work on, and we'll talk about that later.
Cool. Roth, how did you feel as you left the theater that night?
Yeah, I've seen the movie once. I saw it last Thursday. I wanted to get to it again, but just kind of ran out of time. I know that there's issues with this movie. I don't have any of those issues because it was a lot of fun and I enjoyed it. This 49% on Rotten Tomatoes is banana lands.
Yeah, we need to figure that out. I don't know what's going on.
Pull the stick out of where, you critics.
Right. It's interesting.
Well,
yeah,
we'll get it.
I don't know. Okay, well, Rhett, thoughts as you left the theater?
It was just about as milk toast of anything that I've seen. I was uninspired by it. There were moments that Paul Rudd is charming.
Yes.
Jonathan Majors was a tour de force. Sure. I thought he was great. Michelle Pfeiffer, I enjoyed her work in it. But I didn't. It didn't resonate. There were a lot of problems with it. There were some glaring things that I cringe at. Most Marvel movies are not terrible, right? Oh, hey, Melissa. They're not bad. They're not offensive garbage. Thor: Love and Thunder was offensive garbage, but
I'm glad to know it's not your least favorite.
It was garbage, but I didn't think it was offensive.
I wanted some reference here.
It's just benign. It's like white bread.
I like white bread.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't eat any other bread on a
nice
sandwich.
sourdough. Come on.
No. But yeah, I didn't. I'm almost just apathetic about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man. Dr. Earl.
Strong.
How did you feel when you left that theater, Dr. Earl?
Well, look, I enjoyed it as a sort of a sci-fi, like a Marvel, it obviously took characters that had been fairly grounded in the previous two movies and took them on sort of this sort of space adventure in a way. I know it's inner space, but so I enjoyed it. I enjoyed some of the characters they created. I think it was a little overstuffed, but I still had fun with it. I liked Jonathan Majors, as everybody said. I think Kang is a great villain, and I think there was a moment at the end where they could have taken this movie to darker place that I'll talk about later, maybe.
Oh, okay.
That would have propelled some like, oh, well, how is this going to be resolved in the future? But instead, it kind of closed things out and just sort of this, hey, we wrapped this movie and we're back at the beginning. So anyway, milk toast might be not a terrible thing, but I had fun with the milk toast. I mean, I like milk and toast.
That's
So,
not how
you
it's
know.
spelled, but yeah.
It's not
Do I
really
have fun with
helpful.
that?
Yeah.
Oh, well, milky toast. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
we're speaking French.
Yeah, exactly.
Milky toast.
So,
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Melissa, we're asking the
Let her
question:
know,
how
yeah.
did you feel when you left that theater after you saw the movie?
I was pumped. I actually thought it was a lot of fun.
Mhm.
Thought there were some pieces of it that were unnecessary and some annoying things too. But
Yeah.
overall, I had a lot of fun with it. Nate's in the comments saying that Love and Thunder was better than Quantumania. I don't think that's true.
Nope.
So
There
I'm
are
sorry.
no Steven Seagal movies that are worse than Love and Thunder.
Wow.
Wow. Oh,
Wow.
He threw down the gauntlet. He threw the
Dang.
gauntlet down.
I mean, Steven Seagal likes to hear you say that, but dang. Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, so I've seen it twice.
Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, I've seen it twice. The second time solidified to me how I felt about it, which was I had a lot of fun with it. It didn't get any worse the second time. It stayed about the same. And I did have a lot of fun with it. I mean,
it's
for
fun.
me, it was almost better than any Disney Marvel movie of Phase 4. Maybe
Easy.
Doctor Strange is close for me as
What
far
about-
as
Okay, I mean,
Wasn't Spider-Man No Way Home
I
Yeah,
said
well,
that's
Disney
Sony.
Marvel. That's why
See,
I
I hate-
specified
hey,
Disney
gotcha.
Marvel.
I said
okay.
Disney Marvel, even though Disney owns 25% of that film and hired the writers and
Right.
the director.
Okay. Okay,
There's
that
enough
makes sense. That's a
Sony-
good qualifier. That's a good.
There's
qualifier.
enough Sony in those Spider-Man movies to feel the difference, though.
Well,
I
I
always
still,
thought.
no, I mean, I think that's certainly like No Way Home is way better than
Oh, yeah.
Quantumania.
Yeah.
Like way way better. But I wanted to specify
Shang-Chi?
like Disney.
Yeah, I think
Shang-Chi-
Shang-Chi's better.
Okay,
Much
well maybe
better.
it's better.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I
just-
enjoyed it
I'm
more.
looking at my rankings right now.
Yeah, I thought that this was a good. Well, okay, let's get into the details then.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, well, what did you have? What did you
The
say you had a
deets.
lot of fun with it? What was fun?
Before we
okay,
get
well,
There was a lot of fun.
before we
lot
get
of fun.
What?
too started, there was
Yeah.
a clip from the film that I saw was released. I thought we should put it on here.
Oh, okay,
We
yeah.
could discuss a clip. We can go frame by frame on this.
Let's
and,
do it.
Rickroll
discuss
here?
Are we gonna
Quantumania
walk through the
real
whole
quick.
movie?
If Mikey wants to,
Never
just equal
gonna
that one
give
up.
you up.
We're gonna do, yeah.
So
It's gonna take 8
yeah, no,
hours.
this is going to be a great clip. And let's go.
Oh, I know what it is.
Oh,
it's yeah.
oh
In
wow.
honor of Paul Rudd.
I feel it. Oh no, into the Quantumverse.
Hey, that's that guy. That's the holes guy. He's got all the holes. That's the same character.
Holes.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful.
I when
Well
that
done,
moment
sir.
happened in cinemas, I was really
Well,
excited.
well
about that.
done, sir. Well done.
Beautiful.
They really should have taken the opportunity. I don't know if it's a rights issue. They should have had that have been one of the end credit scenes. They should have done that.
Yeah,
Like if
Oh
this,
my.
especially if this
There's
is
some
like
rights
Paul
issues, I'm
Rudd's
sure.
last Ant-Man movie, they should have done. They should have done that for sure. I mean, but we do have to give props to Peyton
Ant-Man
Reed.
will be back.
Peyton Reed, the first Disney Marvel trilogy. He directed all 3 of the Ant-Man films, so that's saying something.
Interesting.
Yeah, you can't say you're not counting Sony, not counting
The
Spider-Man. 'Cause
Ant-Man.
He was
Yeah, 'cause
technically,
Watts did.
Yeah,
do
he's-
a trilogy.
technically first, but that's why I said Disney again. Okay, so what did what was
Yeah,
fun
also
about it?
fun.
As I was
Be
watching,
fun, Michael.
okay, as I was watching the film, especially once they got to the quantum realm, it felt a lot to me like The Fifth Element. And I
That's
love The
fair.
Fifth Element, even though The Fifth Element is not fun, not a good movie to a lot of people. I love The Fifth Element. I think that's
Really?
great. So visually, I think that they captured that aesthetic really well. Very bright colors, cool looking aliens, cool looking characters. I loved the stuff when she came up to the guy that helped him out and did the little knife fight scene. I thought that was fun, and they hugged. There was fun stuff in this. I mean, it was visually a pretty cool looking movie. I understand that the CGI may have not like been the best, but again, I'm no CGI. I can't do any of that stuff. So
I thought this was better than a lot of the Marvel stuff we've got in the past.
I got to tell you, there's that whole report that came out from the Vulture article where they got some VFX guys to come out and say that they diverted a bunch of people to Wakanda Forever. And like, I think the people on Quantumania did a better job than the guys on Wakanda Forever, because Quantumania guys had way more work to do.
Yeah,
way more work to do.
Right.
And it looks okay.
Yeah, I thought it looked fine.
You're also, it's easy to be distracted from the quality by the quantity in Quantumania. There's so much on the screen at one time that you're not really picking it to death. Whereas, and it's less based in reality than a Black Panther.
Right. You don't expect it.
That's fair.
So there's a lot of nonsense where you don't run into Uncanny Valley stuff. It's just there's a lot of nonsense on the screen.
There is certainly
or fun things. Some may call it nonsense. Some may call it fun things.
I
call it.
Rhett hates joy.
I know, right?
I do. I don't. I hate when other people like things, but
it's all true.
I liked all the characters. I liked all
the
the quantum realm beings. I thought they were good characters.
Aesthetically, I mean, some of the design is good. The production design's pretty good and a lot of that stuff. Well, and I'll tell you what took me out of it. This is maybe it's nitpicky and stupid. I don't know, but I didn't buy the existence of the place. It didn't. You talked about the Fifth Element. I understood that world. There was a little bit of world building there. It was, I got what I was seeing. And I didn't understand I don't understand the rules of the quantum realm. Okay,
you're a big rules follower, aren't
you?
Well,
I am a rules.
You don't
guy.
You don't like people to break the rules. I don't understand
why why is there 1G of gravity? Right?
Do you think that they could have? Do you think they could have accomplished that?
Tinier, and bigger. Like I thought the thing was in the quantum realm. If you got bigger, you left the quantum realm. That was the point. That's how got out of it.
But they got sucked in to be quantum realm size. So I'm okay with them shrinking and growing. But
I'm just it's just weird inconsistency that never felt right to me.
I'm so happy that I'm in my brain because I didn't think of any of that.
I threw that aside at the beginning of the film. I was like, whatever.
Janet, the whole time she's like, stay out of the quantum realm. It's oh my goodness, what are you doing? We can't do that. We can't be there. First of all, she never mentioned any of that, which would have been something to bring up. The defining moment of your last 30 years. Maybe
she had some PTSD about it and didn't want to talk about it.
Get over it.
She did. But also at the end of Ant-Man
to be fair, you made a lot of friends down there.
Ant-Man 2, they specifically went back into the quantum realm. Janet, they're applauding, rooting them on to gather up whatever quantum healing particles that we never heard of again.
Yeah, that's right. Call him out, Fett. Call him out.
Look, no, I thought he was complimenting me, and so it's just those kind of inconsistent.
My joy is robbed.
Inconsistent character beats.
I didn't feel like there was any inconsistent character beats.
Well, because Janet.
I don't think Janet.
It's
all warranted.
I didn't.
No, they went back to the quantum realm at the end of Ant-Man 2, and she didn't have a problem with it, and now she has a problem with it because
it wasn't the real quantum realm. That was the quantum-ish realm.
Yeah. They didn't go
like
deep
the
enough.
Stratosphere versus.
There's the microverse.
She
She
didn't know how deep this kid.
Brett, you're talking about a dream within a dream within a dream.
Who had no parent, who had no scientific background until the blip, then 5 years of nothing, and now she's putting together a quantum communication device in the garage. I'm tired of that crap.
Well,
I will believe anything Catherine Newton sells me.
Hank helped her though. He did.
Yeah, Hank was helping her.
Not only does she build that machine. No. Not only does she build that machine, but she at the end is immediately able to open up a portal to bring them back.
And see, I will say that's my biggest issue. They should have left them there.
Well, they were left there. They were left there. The original ending of the film was Kang gets out, they get left there.
Oh, see, that would have been a better ending.
Because to me, they're setting up the Young Avengers, and they're the last two, right, of the original adult Avengers, or whatever you want to call them.
But the film ended with Cassie finding them on the computer screen and like raising an eyebrow. And like,
see, that's a good ending.
See, that's nice.
Well,
Yeah,
maybe they
that's a
didn't want to
good
make a
ending.
fourth Ant. Maybe they don't want to make a fourth Ant-Man.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They realized they couldn't do that because
Yeah.
they can't be sure that there's going to be a fourth one. They
Yes,
didn't
Nate.
want to
She had
write
a second
themselves
husband.
into a hole where they keep him in the quantum realm and then have to figure out in another movie how to get him out.
and it would be so similar to the ending of Ant-Man and the Wasp. I think that was one of the issues they had too.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm.
You'd be
But
retreading
it
that ground.
undid the dramatic effect of her of Hope's sacrifice to return and save it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's like when Chewie dies for 3 minutes in Rise of Skywalker.
I will
Sure,
say-
but Chewie wasn't sacrificing himself in that one,
If-
so that made it even worse.
That's even this is worse. Yeah.
If we want to talk about joy, one of the things I did like was the voiceover at the beginning and the voiceover at the end. As a comic book guy, I mean, that's very comic book to have the hero telling you, setting up things about their
Right,
life,
right,
and then
right.
what's going on, and then ending the comic thinking to themselves about these things. I don't know how well that translates to general audiences, but I love
like
that. As a
the-
Well, I can answer that.
Okay.
I didn't like it. I thought it was really dumb.
Oh well.
Oh,
I don't understand that that's a thing. Like until you said it just now, right? That's a comic book, a trope, if you will, or
Yeah. It
something
is.
that
Mhm.
typically
It is.
happens. And the whole time I just thought, like, this is why are we watching him? Be
Well,
around
wait.
Baskin Robbins? Like this is stupid. Like I understood why it was funny,
Yeah.
but I didn't understand like the entire purpose of it.
Well, one of the reasons why they'll
It
do a
sets
lot
up.
of that.
It's an exposition.
They'll set up like also for new readers who are picking up an issue for the first time, like, oh, this is who I am, this is what I do, this is what I believe in.
It's a new
And
watcher.
then sometimes they'll say some things that
setup.
have happened recently to get you up to speed. Yeah.
I didn't care for the first one. I liked the ending one with the
I did-
whole.
yeah.
Did he get out? No, he's.
I
we
liked when
trapped
the
him.
music kind of got dark too
Were we
during
supposed
that
to
moment.
trap him? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
No,
like
that's
that
what we
ending.
I
was
almost wish the movie ended on the dark music instead of the birthday
Mhm.
party.
Yeah, with him, with it dawning on him, and then
Right.
you cut to
Yeah.
black. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would have at least had some edge.
especially if
Mhm.
like they had done a Kang theme, like just a
Mhm.
note of the
motif,
Kang
little
theme.
musical
Yeah, like a
motif,
little
yeah.
motif there. That's something that they
New composers don't don't anymore.
Yeah,
right,
they
that's
haven't
old
done that.
school,
It's
that's
just not a
old stuff.
thing. Yeah,
Saying
it's
a
not
new
thing.
composer.
So, Red, I have
No,
a
this
question
guy
for
is
you.
Uh-oh.
Who was it?
Stuff
Do
like that.
do you think
Christoph.
that they could have accomplished the thing that you didn't feel like happened? Do you think they could have like built the world better to establish the rules and explain why it existed if they had like 20 or 30 more minutes, or do you think it was just doomed from the start?
And I think some of it is doomed from the start. I mean, you can't devote. It's got to. You have to create worlds that are instantly recognizable and understandable. I mean, that's your job as a writer. That's how you make. That's how you
It's a
write.
comic
well.
book movie.
Well, I know, but I mean, that's a cop out. Okay, you don't accept garbage because it's a comic book movie. I mean, we
That's
have
true.
a higher standard of that. Some of
We've had Morbius.
some of the
and we've had-
movies work pretty well. There is a way to build worlds. Listen, I don't know. I mean, I'm not.
I'm just curious. I mean,
I'm
not matter to me.
critical of writers. I'm critical.
Yeah,
of
I mean,
things like
Brett
that.
has never himself written a screenplay.
Yeah,
Doesn't
no, of course
understand the complexity
No,
of
I
and the
start it and
difficulty
I'm
of
like,
it.
oh, there's a plot hole. I throw it away. They
Yeah.
keep writing. They don't
Yeah.
care. They just crap it out.
Well, here's the thing I know about
I
this.
clench it off and they just let it run.
Here's the thing I know about the pre-production of this film. The guy who wrote it, Jeff Loveness, he's a comic book writer, huge nerd. Got big off of a video on YouTube called Wes Anderson's Spider-Man. Very funny video. You can check it out.
Oh, yeah.
He's been in a lot of comedy shows. He wrote for Jimmy Kimmel. He wrote for Rick and Morty for a couple episodes, some of the highest rated Rick and Morty episodes ever. He gets onto Quantumania, first feature ever. Pre-production, they say it's one of the best. A lot of people who read it, one of the best Marvel scripts they've ever read. And then I feel like it got torn
That's
apart
high
during
praise.
production.
It
And
must have got
especially
torn
knowing
apart a
that the
little bit.
ending did change and that they shot that new ending in January because we have photographic
Footage
evidence
of
of them
that.
doing that.
Yeah,
So
Yeah,
there's a
and
lot
I've
of that
seen-
going on.
I've seen
They've had to do that to Indy 5 also.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're trying to save it. I have seen reference to apparently it went through a bunch of drafts too. I keep.
Yeah,
I've
it
seen
seems
reference
like
to-
Well,
The more
that happens
hands
a
that
lot,
get
but-
on these scripts, the worse they get. I mean, it's like script by
You know, but
committee.
the
I mean-
problem with that is sometimes it's great. Sometimes having a bunch of guys on it can make like
Yeah.
Iron Man was. I mean, you don't want to
couple of
replicate
guys, right?
that, but
No, I mean, I think of and reshoots are not always terrible too. I think of this
Yeah.
in a couple of contexts. The news right now is that Aquaman is a steaming pile, and people are
Right.
running from the screen, the test screenings, and throwing themselves off buildings like in The Happening, and
I've never seen anybody do that at a screening before.
Yeah.
I know that's what.
right, so. But
Like
so
Faces of
they're
Death.
doing reshoots, right? Rogue One was a disastrous production,
Mhm.
massive reshoots, right?
Mhm.
Well,
And
was
it's
it a
kind of-
disastrous? I don't. I'm going to push back on the disastrous production part of
Okay.
Rogue One, but you're right. The reshoots changed the movie a lot, and it
Yeah, well,
helped
it
it.
didn't test. It didn't test wonderfully. They ended up redoing the third.
Well,
act,
because he
right?
delivered what Kathleen Kennedy had asked him
Yes.
to deliver at first.
Yeah,
Hey,
then
make
then-
me a
like,
war
well, this
movie.
changed
And
her
Gareth
mind.
Edwards is
Right.
like,
Yeah.
blood,
Yeah,
violence, and
So-
she's like, oh my god, what did you
But
do?
it turns out, it's kind of the best Star Wars that Disney has done, right?
For sure.
So
So the
the
reshoot, yeah.
reshoots
Movies.
and the rewrites, those don't always equal
And/or
disaster.
Mhm.
It's perfectly reasonable to think that this movie got better because of all of that.
It could have, yeah.
yeah,
it
I'm
could've.
just taking the word of people who
Yeah.
even were a little disappointed with the film themselves. So I'm just interested in,
But I would have liked the darker ending.
Yeah.
The one that you
Mhm.
just
I agree
mentioned,
with
leaving it on him, on his voiceover
Yes.
with that negative. That's good because, and here's the other thing: you got at the end that thing that Marvel does. It didn't say Ant-Man will return; it said Kang will return. So
Yeah.
you're ending on a downbeat anyway with that.
Mhm.
So they could have really doubled down on that. They should have left them in the quantum realm so that her sacrifice had teeth, so his sacrifice had teeth.
right.
And that was a cop out. So I don't, maybe it's better this way, but it
Well,
seems
I
like
mean,
it's
I really think it
easier
comes
this
down
way.
to that they don't want to make a fourth Ant-Man movie.
They couldn't leave him there because they
Yeah.
would have. They still want to use him down
Well,
the
but they
road
could
in
bring him
some
back
other
in
film, but they
Avengers, right?
can't figure
Sure.
out how to
Yeah,
get
yeah.
him out. There's not going to be another mouse walk across a keyboard and him eject him back into the real world, right?
Right.
Yeah,
There's always another mouse.
I lost what I was going to say. Go. Somebody else go.
as the people's advocate, that's my name here. People's
Mhm.
advocate, Garrison.
Mhm.
I want to speak for the people right now.
Speak
Please.
for the people.
If we are
can't
looking
have
at
professors speaking only. We have to have the people.
The people. Yeah, we
If
can't
we are
have
looking-
professors only.
if we are looking at the MCU in the totality, I wrote some interesting things down
Okay. Great.
in terms of audience reaction. So the people. Black Widow, we know, had an A- cinema score, 88% on post track. Those are solid scores. Shang-Chi A, 91%. Those are very solid scores. That is Scott Rifen.
Hello, Scott.
Eternals B, 78%. Those are really bad scores, especially for the box office. Spider-Man A+, 96%. Amazing scores.
Hey, Ted.
What's up,
But
Ted?
this is where you start to get in a rocky start. 2022. Doctor Strange B+, 82%. Thor: Love and Thunder B+, 77%. Black Panther A goes back up a little bit, 93%. Quantumania B, 75%.
Whoa.
The lowest post-track score in MCU history. It started around Guardians when they started post-track came around. And the lowest cinema score in MCU history, tied with Eternals. So it's not just the critics that don't love it. It was the opening night audiences too.
I don't understand.
And
Do you think it's the fatigue? Do you think
I don't know what it is. I don't know that.
Or
I don't know. That's what that. I just.
Did you say Eternals scores?
Yeah, Eternals was B
It's a 3.
with a 78% post track.
Oh, that's even better.
How about a C- with a?
Yeah, I mean,
if you want.
no, but you got to
I kind
understand.
of liked Eternals.
Beyond-
I liked it.
A B on cinema score is really bad for an opening night audience. Those are the most like fervent
The
fans in
fanatics,
the world.
easy to please. Yeah.
Yeah. You should be getting A- at the if you get a B+, it's not the end of the world, but like anything lower than that.
That's what I tell my kids about school. You should be getting A- at the least.
Yeah.
I can't. No.
It is. Phase 4 was a train wreck. It was.
Michael, you don't
Not
know
all of it. Not all of it was.
I think the first half of Phase 4
Shang-Chi
was
was good.
really spectacular.
Well,
Shang-Chi was good. Spider-Man No Way Home was good.
But I liked it a lot.
Black
WandaVision
Widow
was good.
Look, Black Widow was fine.
'Cause it was
Well, Black
out of-
Widow was a transition between.
And it had
I liked
Florence
Quantumania
Pugh.
more than
I mean,
Black Widow.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I
Florence,
mean,
Florence Pugh gets it a 2-grade cinema score bonus.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, look, I think Rudd, I will say this, not all of his jokes were great, but he's so buoyant through this whole thing. Like he's able
He speaks to me, but
Yeah.
But what's not speaking to the audience? Is it the
weird.
weirdness
Because
of the
they
film?
know.
Is it
Look, you guys get on me because I nitpick a little bit, but when you watch it, you know there, and you may not be able to. I can't articulate everything that I feel about it, but you know when you're watching something that isn't right. There's something off about all of it.
Here's what
MODOK turned a lot of people off because it's stupid. Okay?
No, but it's hilarious.
I love MODOK.
I love MODOK.
But
MODOK was great.
Well, the look
But
was
it
strange.
removes
but
you.
Melissa,
was
what
great.
did you think? I need to know what Melissa thought
She's
of
a
MODOK.
non-comic person.
Yeah.
Right, but I have the internet, so I went and
Well,
looked.
okay.
Right, like I went and looked around and
Fair enough.
read up about what MODOK was
What MODOK
in the
was,
comics
yeah.
and everything else, and it was kind of a big bad in the comics, right?
He was menacing.
Right,
like,
really
much
menacing,
more
like a
menacing.
machine.
Yeah.
Machine of whatever. What's his
And-
stand for?
And I thought the Darren stuff was kind of stupid. I chuckled, but I was like, "Ugh," because I read beforehand so that I could learn more about it, and then I went in thinking something different. I mean, maybe I shouldn't have formed an assumption,
See,
but
Melissa,
I was like,
that's- I've never read a single Marvel comic.
yeah.
And the only knowledge I have
Clutch
of it
the
is listening
pearls.
to like people talk about it on podcasts. And so like I didn't really know who MODOK was. I know that he was in some Hulu show that didn't matter. And when he showed up in this, I was like, MODOK is awesome. And I'm very happy that I didn't have that because I probably would have had your same reaction.
But the
Right.
character-
Nate.
It didn't.
Well, I got-
It didn't keep me
we
from
can't
enjoying myself.
Compare a comic book movie to an Altman movie.
Yeah,
Nate.
Altman, Robert Altman. I didn't think you liked
Come
MASH,
on,
Nate.
no
Nate
Ant-Man?
didn't like MASH.
Is he saying that we're
I-
pretentious? Is that what he's trying to
I
imply?
understand. I feel
This
like
is better
the
than
heist,
Nashville.
The heist,
How dare you.
which is sort of what Kang sends him on, should have been a bigger part of the film. Should have
Yeah.
been something more elaborate for him to do and steal, find a way to get that ball and make
That's
it harder
fair.
to get
That's
to
fair.
and whatever.
I mean, I did feel
That part-
like
Murky too, like
I
with,
did-
with the
like,
multiple.
let-
I love
breathe
that.
quite enough.
I did.
there was constant stuff. Like it was actually short. And I usually don't complain about that with a Marvel movie, but the movie felt too short. I mean, it felt like they could have let some of this stuff breathe a little bit more, so you care a little bit more, especially to what happens to the quantum realm beings or whatever. You don't end up caring
Listen,
too
that-
much
that
about
moment-
them.
Listen, before we get too far from MODOK, listen.
Okay.
It was a poor representation of Darren Cross. Number one, he was a little snivelly. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
Bro, he
was
shrunk a guy
still-
into goo.
But he was silly. He retained almost none of his character traits. So why use him? Okay, there was no doubt
Because he was the plan from the beginning. Because that's what they wanted.
But
to
he
do.
wasn't. I mean, he had none of that. It was silly. His arc is stupid. Listen, he turned because she said, "Don't be a dick."
Right.
He was like, "Oh,
Sometimes that's
well, I
all
don't want
it
to be a
takes.
dick." So
Yeah,
now
guys,
I'm
I think-
Magic words.
I think Rhett still needs to learn the lesson. No.
Oh, hey,
It's
well, I'm not going to tell her on a dime. Maybe that's
it's okay. It's okay, Red. I still love you.
Yeah, well, thanks. I appreciate that. Somebody appreciates this.
No, I appreciate you
Yeah,
a lot.
it's
Otherwise,
like-
you wouldn't be on here.
It was not the. He had a couple of good lines. I mean, it was funny and silly, but juxtapose that with Kang, and it feels out of place. It makes it feels.
Well, even Kang didn't like MODOK though.
but it lowers the stakes. And then
Well, I thought a
I
lot
feel
of the
his little butt
Go ahead.
cheeks.
I was gonna say, I
Right.
feel like in the Ant-Man films, we've always had kind of silly characters and very silly
Yes.
traits, and I feel like they were trying to retain some of that with MODOK. I feel like it works better with the Goo character. I love the Goo character.
Mhm.
the good character was fun.
Probably my
Now,
favorite
David
new
Dalmatian,
character in the film
Yeah.
besides
Vogue or something. Voob,
the Conqueror. But
Like a Lewis is a silly character, right?
Right.
But you know people like Lewis.
Luis.
yeah,
Right, like he's a human that you might run across somewhere. You get the gimmick that he tells. I mean, it's a fun little montage that works in the context, right? MODOK was not that kind of character to me. It was not this fits in Ant-Man because we've had silly people before. It was too out there. And I mean, MODOK in and of itself is goofy, right? It's a weird thing, right?
it's a hard thing to get right.
It
I
is
like
a hard
this
thing to
point
get
with
right.
Ted.
So either you don't do it, but maybe they could have done it right, but I don't feel like they did. And I don't know if it didn't retain enough of Darren Cross.
Did the
It
first
became-
Kang lose? Sorry.
No. It just I don't know. I mean, I'm
Well, he got stabbed by a variant
kinda
Loki, female
Yeah, but
variant
that wasn't
Loki,
losing. He just kind of said,
don't think
"I
he
win
was.
either
And
way."
I'm not convinced that King the Conqueror's dead anyway.
I'm not either.
I think
Well, I
that
don't
he
think
just
he- I
went
think
to a
he
different
is.
part of the quantum realm.
No, I think
Super
he's dead
Quantum
because you've got all
Mania?
these other ones. You've got another one in the. There are hundreds in the
Yeah.
post.
I think that was the Conqueror, and I think that's why they showed his backstory so much, like
Right.
the Conqueror.
But
I
I
think
just
so.
don't
This
think
King?
he's coming back because you don't need all the other ones if he does.
Well, no, the
Well,
other ones are
look,
are annoyed by him. Though,
They're
and, like,
signaling to you that there are really only 4 important ones, and
Yeah.
that's
And I think that there were. I mean, I
Yeah.
think the twist is
Raymond
that he
Tutt.
was the least.
Robert
That
Tutt.
he was, you know.
Roth.
Well, no, I think the twist is that the Kang that we got was better. Was a better person. He was a better Kang than these other guys. That they're worse than he is. So that's why I don't think you keep him. He ends up he's telling the truth. You should have let me be the one to go out because I can stop these guys.
yeah.
And now you've broken it all. And that's the twist. And so I don't think he does come back for that.
We'll see.
Josh, thanks for hanging out, man. Even though you haven't
Yeah.
seen it yet, we'll try not and while you're watching, we'll try not and spoil too much. But thanks for coming in, dude.
You can
Well,
hang
okay,
out.
so
you don't have to go away. We're not.
Here's
we're
one thing
not-
that I do think with King the Conqueror, we know that he wants to be the one. He wants to rule it all.
Well, they all want to be the one, basically.
Well, yeah, but
some are
he's the next
clearly
Thanos, right? Like the next big bad.
we
For
thought
the phase,
we thought
I mean,
Well, he's
Conqueror
dead now,
was.
so
A
No, I
King.
don't think he is.
I don't
A
think he's
King
dead.
is the next big bad.
one of them.
Yes.
Let me say something about Josh in the chat here. So he just said these used to be appointment viewing for me. I think this goes back to the cinema score, right?
Right.
Where people didn't love it. Even the opening night audience, they didn't love it. This is Josh, and I know Josh. I watch him. The movies that he goes to see, he hits a lot of movies, and he hits these kind of movies on opening night, and he wasn't inclined to go see Ant-Man on opening night. And I think that says something about a slip in quality, a slip in interest, a slip in engagement, and Marvel
which is
needs to turn
weird
that
to me
around.
because you would think that this particular character is somewhat popular, based
Well,
upon the
movies
box
never
office.
were.
Ant-Man's never been a popular character. He's only been 5 to
popular
600
in the setting of like an Avengers. Like everybody loves him in Avengers, right?
In
Infinity
Civil
he's a
War.
comic relief, and
but he's as a standalone.
he's fun. He's fun. Come on.
His movies though don't.
He had 2 good movies. I mean, they were good. They were.
Okay.
I think I like the first one better than the second one, but
Ant-Man
if you look at somebody like myself, I never saw any of these on opening night and then rewatched them all in order.
Right.
Shouldn't they all be good enough to where they're
They
approachable?
keep you engaged.
Right? Well, I mean, shouldn't they all be good enough to stand on their own if somebody's new to the entire franchise so they can jump in? Because not everybody's going to do their research to watch them in order. Like,
and not everybody's going to watch even now the MCU shows, like the Disney Plus shows. Yeah.
At the end of the day, this is like one big TV show. So I mean, you can't come into Endgame without at least some baggage.
That's true.
Yeah,
well, sure.
I mean, we're 30 movies in, right? And
which is a feat in and of itself.
But if you're just talking about
My
casual
Letterboxd
viewers, go ahead.
Has 39 entries on the MCU ranking list. 39 entries, 39 different things that somebody would have had to watch to know what's happening.
Yeah.
Okay.
Melissa,
let's see what. Hang on, what Josh said.
Listen,
the film trailer
I get-
sold us another Doctor Strange multiverse type spectacle, and that's not what. Yeah, I mean,
it's not really multiverse.
I think
It's
But I
like
get what Melissa.
There's
Hang
2
on.
verses.
I get what Melissa's saying too, and they do need to stand to some extent on their own because you are going. First of all, you want new people to come see it. You don't want, the nature of this is that fewer people will. The more involved your story gets. I mean, you see that in a lot of TV shows. Viewership dwindles. You don't want that, so you need some standalone type stories, and a lot of these movies are insulated. This is a standalone story.
Yeah.
In very many ways, and it has connectivity. So I don't.
I mean, I understand what Garrison's saying too, that they're all interconnected and that it's like one giant story. And it's the MCU verse, just like there's this stuff for DC. But I just feel like is it trending that they're not as appealing on their own?
It
I guess?
appears to. It appears
Not
to
drawing,
be trending
like,
that
they're
way.
not drawing in new viewers.
This movie is not going to do as well at the box office. But I mean, there's
Now,
a few.
Wakanda Forever did really well at the box office, though.
It
I,
did
I
really
like this
well.
better than that, though.
It did
Yeah.
really
Yeah, I
well
agree with that.
domestically at the box office. It did
Mhm.
okay worldwide.
Mhm.
There, for some reason, Black Panther's star power internationally is not as big domestically, but you can see that. in the
I
first
think
one.
the biggest story, the most telling thing there is I looked up Wakanda numbers and 0 people in Wakanda saw it. I can't find any viewer
boycotting
numbers,
the film.
any box office from Wakanda.
Maybe the same could be said for
Well,
the
it's got to
Quantum
be
realm.
kept secret.
0 viewers in the Quantum realm saw Quantumania. So, I mean, the thing that I really
They don't like the Marvel
enjoyed
movies.
while I was watching the film, though, I mean, even if the story itself was a little bit weak, I felt like Michelle Pfeiffer and I just felt like this was like some of the best work she has done in years. And I was
I
just
agree with
taken
that.
by that.
Yeah,
I was like drawn in.
She was very energetic.
because,
and very,
I was
taking it
drawn
very
in because of
serious.
her performance and Jonathan Majors also.
And
I
her
thought the-
interaction with Jonathan Majors was really good. I
Yeah.
thought.
The moments where she had something to do were good, but
She had a
the
lot to do, a lot more than Hope.
Mhm.
right,
Oh,
It was
yeah.
like they remembered Hope at the last minute. They were like, "Oh
Right,
my
Melissa,
gosh!"
are you going to
give her
bring
a
up the fact that she
steam.
drives you crazy during like half the film? Because
Well, yeah.
Please
Hope-
let
I was
Melissa-
just going to say that the expository, I think that's the right word,
Yeah.
moments,
Mhm.
the slower moments where it was like they bantered in their ship, and
yes,
she's like, it was 30 years and I had needs. I was like, this is stupid.
when
Please
they're
move the scene along.
when
Like-
they're
Oh, well,
in
yeah,
the
some
ship
of that
and
was dumb.
she's telling the story of her meeting Kang, when it is Kang, when it's her and Kang on the screen actually interacting, I'm like, this is great. But then when
Yeah.
it cuts back to the ship, I'm like, get back.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
crap.
Yeah.
The
I mean, and so they obviously, it just makes you wonder, like, how much did they beef up Janet Van Dyne as a character in this movie once they saw? I mean, she just did really well. I mean, I just have
yeah, she was
never.
great and beautiful too. Like she's aged.
Yeah, no, Fat's
wonderfully.
right.
I
I
mean,
mean,
she-
she had a
she
ton more to do.
Yeah.
I mean, now Hank did have some important moments, obviously, and
Yeah,
he had a
he
good,
had some funny
he had a good
quips
hero
and-
moment. I mean, I liked some of the stuff that he did with the ants.
with the ants.
Hope they just completely sidelined Hope. I mean, until the very end, obviously, to make
Yep.
her have her moment. But throughout the film, though, they really just, I don't know. Evangeline Lilly must have made somebody mad or something. I don't know. I mean, because
Well,
they
I heard
really
they
did
cut a
stuff.
big scene when
ever
there
heard
was.
of her?
I've heard they've cut a big scene with her when they did multiple possibilities for him in that.
Oh,
Yeah,
they
and
down-
she didn't.
they
there-
she,
down-
there
there
was
was
a
a glimpse
moment-
of that too.
The potential.
Because apparently they filmed a scene where she was like a mom with kids and with this long hair,
Oh, interesting.
and there was some things. So they were going to show her
I'm
like
totally
her,
okay with that.
her
Yeah,
infinite
I'm glad they cut it.
possibilities. Yeah, I mean, it probably
think she's
didn't move the
special.
story along that much, but
Yeah.
I mean, how did
um,
Baskin Robbins get into the quantum realm?
No, I love that. I don't know how it happened.
because there are no
Probability
other
field.
versions that aren't Ant Man, right? There are
Right,
no other
right.
versions
There's
of Scott
Baskin
Lang.
Robbins.
except-
little product placement there, I think.
Go get him.
yeah,
Yeah, that was funny. That I
yeah,
like.
I mean, that's a pretty good sequence. They probably could have done more with that, frankly, than they did. I mean, I would have liked to have
Really
seen
cool
more than just
visuals.
Ant Man,
Yeah.
or some different, version or I guess reactions.
Paul Rudd is Captain America.
Yeah, well,
And-
maybe. I
and
don't know. I don't know what
As
to get.
distracting as Bill Murray was, I kind of liked that scene. I kind of liked that bar, the
What is-
outside bar,
is that-
all of that.
That was a better-
aesthetically,
That was kind
That
of
was a better
fun-
cantina scene than the sequel trilogy gave us.
Oh
I,
my God.
I thought
You're
that
almost
scene
gonna
was
say
really
Star
neat, but I
Wars.
didn't think
Oh,
he
no.
needed to be there.
No, it was a weird thing to have him there. You could have told that, and it didn't
It would have had
contribute
more
anything to
power
the
if it
story.
was. yeah.
What did that scene
Well,
do?
no, I mean
Yeah.
basically
What did it serve? What
It
function did it
feels
serve?
like it
them
felt
getting
like
caught. I mean,
it felt
They
like
could
Them
get
getting a
bumped up.
ship.
them getting a ship. Yeah.
yeah, it felt
Yeah,
like
that's right.
someone told Bill Murray that they had a character that was open and that he could just come and film for a day, and he was like, "Yeah,
Here's a couple
sure,
million. Mhm.
yeah, I'll go do that."
That whole weird story though before the movie came out, where he was like, he called what's her face and asked her
Catherine
if it was
Newton.
okay. Yeah, Catherine Newton
Yeah.
asked her if it was okay if he was in the movie. I was like, that is the weirdest thing.
Well, Bill's a
Like-
weirdo. Bill's a weirdo.
He's just supposed to be a
He's-
weirdo. Yeah.
He's really
Speaking
a
of-
strange guy.
Yes,
Catherine Newton.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
It's
Re-
listen.
Okay. Go ahead.
Careful. I will get up and fight
I'll
you.
say it for you, Rhett.
She had one expression.
No, that's not
Yes.
true.
No,
I'm
she-
going to push back on that. That's not true.
She was totally and utterly miscast with the way they wrote her character.
Mm.
Okay.
I agree with that too.
She is the kind of, like, if you watch her films, she can do the kind of
Freaky
naive,
and-
like
Yeah.
new to this world
Right.
Yeah.
girl and young superhero.
Yeah.
Who's kind of coming into her own, but they didn't have her do that at all. They had her be this kind of standoffish.
Well, and she looks it. You know, I compare her to and I cannot remember the young lady's name from Endgame that was recast. I can't.
Emma Furman.
Emma, right. So
Yeah.
that was for me one of the more emotional performances. Seen very brief.
Oh, very brief.
Of
Yeah.
the MCU. Okay, I mean, she had a great scene there. She
Yeah.
looks older now, certainly now.
Yeah, of
she
course,
looks
yeah.
older than the character. She doesn't look particularly naive. I mean, she's a grown woman, and so Catherine looks younger. She can play younger.
Yep.
But they did not take advantage of that. She was not, you know, and the character was she's not particularly likable. You know,
That's I know. That bugged me.
This whole
her.
whole holier than thou crap about, well, why don't we help the people taking a dump?
Okay, well, that's a dumb. That was a dumb. Yeah, that was a dumb character.
That wasn't from the blip.
I love
They
no, right.
now.
Right. I
Okay.
love that they went, okay, so the homeless people in San Francisco are the same as the people that got kicked out of
Right, yeah, no, and
Okay.
she's on her dad about what are you doing? Well, what you're like 17, 18, and you're like, oh, we got to go save these people from the like you don't have the life experience to criticize him in this.
Yeah,
point.
Well,
I didn't like that she got
They
to,
wrote it
like,
very realistic. What do you think a San Francisco teenager would be like?
Well,
didn't
that's
Why
like
would they move out of that shithole?
I didn't like that she would say a lot of those things and then like really didn't get any pushback on it aside
Right,
from
yeah,
like,
they just let her
slight
say
bit
it.
at the beginning, but then after a while it was just like continuing to rail on her father. I'm like, okay,
Well-
even if you believe those things, like, come on.
He's painted into a corner as a deadbeat. So
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
he's not going to have anything to say to her. And my biggest exposure to her before this was in Supernatural, and she played the same snotty character. It was exactly the same.
The group
she
that
was
she
way
runs
younger,
into,
yeah.
you know, the warrior lady and the guy without holes, and then the light beam guy.
I like
They
Light
don't
Beam
know
guy.
anything about them,
Right.
other than that they captured them, right, and made them drink weird goo. And she's like, "Well, we have to save
Drink
them."
my
All they've
goo.
heard is like, "Well, we're being oppressed." And she's like, "We must save them." Well, you know who?
No, they don't. Get back home.
Evil people all over the world that are think they're oppressed too, and
Yeah.
then, you know, you don't have she doesn't have the life experience and the bearing to make those kinds of decisions realistically, and it bothered me. And that's another one of those little things that when you pile little thing on little thing on little thing, you start to feel it, and you know, even if you can't articulate why, you know, and that's why you walk out of there with a 74% C. Or
Joy, my joy is gone, guys. I'm sorry.
I love Catherine Newton, and I think
Yeah, I do
she's
too.
a
I think she's
actress.
great.
She's
She's
my
great
age.
and freaky. Yeah.
She's like 26 now.
Yeah, well,
Hey, Fatmatic is right.
Got
Kong
Andrea
soldiers were-
from Beverly
Oh yeah,
Hills
the King
90210.
soldiers were pretty cool, but I'm still not clear, even after viewing it a second time.
Are they humans?
Were
or
they
not?
Are
human
they
or
human or are
robots?
they not?
No, they're definitely robots.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but then how
But
was
how-
what's his face
Yeah, the
able
mind
to read their
reading thing.
mind then?
Yeah, I don't think
That's
they're
a
robots.
weird plot hole.
I don't think they're
Well,
meant to
they
be
could-
robots.
That
They're meant to
was
look
confusing.
like
Just
robots.
because they're robots doesn't mean they weren't sentient.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he can
Well,
still read
they,
their mind.
they were faceless guys that you could kill easily and not feel
Correct.
bad about it.
They're
I
not.
did.
They're not robots. They're meant to be
Stormtroopers.
people, but
No,
they're
I
meant to
think
look
they're
like
robots
so
because-
you don't feel bad about them dying.
Well,
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I
I
think they're
like the
robots. though.
effect when Amazon warrior lady sticks them with her stick and they get all like,
Yeah.
oh man, that was cool.
Yeah. That was cool.
That's my favorite thing in the movie.
Yeah, now
I like that
Jathura,
Attack of the Clones, end of Attack of the Clones shot of the whole army's like
Yes.
getting ready
Yeah.
to go out. That was
Yeah.
cool. I was like, and
Yeah.
the music even kind of
When that happened, my dad turned to me and went, "Attack of the Clones."
I just
Yeah.
think that they're robots because Kang is a technology guy.
He is the
Like,
tech guy.
You're
yeah,
right.
He is
everything
the
that
tech
he
of the
can
future.
do is not like a
not-
superpower. Everything
didn't
that he can
react
do.
like
That's-
So
is
do you think
future
he-
tech. Is
do you
had
think
one
he-
guy that- go ahead.
I'm sorry. So do you think he built robots, or do you think he
Yes.
kept? Oh, okay.
He probably
he
built
built- he
robots and then
built-
built robots to build robots.
Yeah,
somehow.
because
So it wasn't the thing where he like captured human beings and then turned them that way with technology.
No, because the whole thing with Kang, as far as the comics, is like he's
He's
from the future.
Right.
He has all this technology. this particular Kang gets stuck in the quantum realm, so he uses what's there and builds this robot army, and all the stuff that you can see him doing is all technology based. He doesn't have like Jedi powers. It's all like technology.
No, that's right. He's not a
But it's all
mystic.
time technology based too.
Right.
He froze. Didn't he freeze Janet?
Yes.
That was kind of cool. I don't really understand what his power is.
It made it look like he had magical powers. Is what it did.
It's time.
It's tied in with his suit. Yeah.
Yeah. It's all.
Listen,
that's why the big deal with his suit being damaged. He had to just like. He became a pugilist at that point.
Yeah, pugilist.
Pugilist. Whatever.
I don't think they're robots. I think you're meant to believe they could be robots, and that's good enough. It's totally irrelevant and indeterminate.
It doesn't matter.
I will say his boxing in that last fight made me very excited for Creed 3.
For Creed 3,
Oh, he's going to be so good against Michael B. Jordan.
He's going to be awesome in that movie.
And Scott Lang definitely would have an orbital fracture from some of that.
Yes.
Dr. Earl, is that accurate?
Can you weigh in, Dr. Earl?
He's definitely
the
concussed,
Bofa
right?
fracture, yes.
The Bofa fracture.
What's that?
What?
Did anybody else read
fracture?
What?
Blowout orbital fracture of the.
No, that's exactly. He's concussed.
Different type of Bofa.
Blowout fracture
Earl's like the Sugma fracture.
What?
He's got science. Earl has science words we can't even imagine.
No,
That's right.
No.
He's the king of this chat.
He's 20 years in the future compared to us. What were you going to say?
I did.
Oh,
sorry.
sorry.
I was saying something. No, I was going to say Kang was Melissa.
It really doesn't matter. Just finish your sentence. It's fine.
No, I think Kang was menacing. I mean, I think at
was.
the end, like I thought he was a really good villain, and I'm a little disappointed that if this Kang was completely destroyed, like I know they're going to have these variations, but I'm a little worried. I mean, I know that gives Jonathan Majors a lot to do, and that's appealing to an actor.
Yeah.
But I like a villain who's just straight villain, like Conqueror, like a guy that's hard to beat. And so I hope the others are good too. I mean, I guess that's what I'm getting
It took
at.
a heck of a lot for him to be defeated in this film. I mean, like I feel like some people overlooked how much it took.
Yeah.
Well, that's true.
That was the fights were good at the end. I thought
he was shooting the beams right and erasing everybody from the timeline.
Killing them all,
right.
Until our heroes got there, and then he just didn't.
Yeah,
that's the kind of crap that
he
bothers
pulled
me.
back. He pulled back a little bit.
Why? It doesn't make sense to pull back.
Well, he had to talk a little bit.
Pull back for the movie, so the movie could happen. And that's when you see that happen, you feel it, and it bothers you, whether you can articulate it or not.
It didn't bother me that much.
I thought about that.
I was
like, why do you blast them? Just blast
get
them.
dumber at get dumber like
I
me,
thought
and
maybe
it won't bother you.
I thought maybe that it did have something to do with their suits versus
Rhett,
others.
How many movies do you watch where a guy takes on a group of people and they take him on one by one?
It bothers me. And the other thing that bothers me is that nobody puts a costume on anymore. It's just boop, and then instant costume. I'm tired of that too.
What do you want him to like step off to the side of the screen in a phone booth?
Go find a phone booth.
Oh,
put your outfit on.
Come on. Good grief.
After
this,
I
don't know who Mackenzie is.
I know Mackenzie.
She's right. She's right.
Right.
Right. She's correct.
Okay, Melissa, let's please allow Melissa to say her piece. What were you going to say earlier?
Wait a minute.
You don't even remember, do you? You don't even remember, do you?
It's fine. I was just going to ask if anybody else read a similar article. I was reading before it came out that when they were doing some of the reshoots, they originally had it written that Kang beat the crap out of Paul Rudd so bad that he was going to be unrecognizable. Like that was going to be some sort of plot point, and then they changed it.
I just
thought it was interesting.
To make it too dark.
I mean,
I wonder if they were afraid to make it too.
If you ever see somebody get their butt really whooped, like they're swollen and disfigured, right? And
anybody watch Slap League?
Yeah,
Slap League? No, I do not watch. What's that on the Ocho?
I don't have to watch anything. I mean, I live in Texas. There's like a bar fight on every corner about every hour on the hour. Seems like
Dana White. It's the new Dana White thing, and it's bad. Like I don't even like. I'll see a clip of it, and I'll be like, no, thank you. But like, they get slapped, and like I'm not kidding you. Like 15 seconds later, they've got like the
they got
this big.
Well,
yeah.
Well, I would have wanted to see that for Scott Lang. I mean, that's not the nature. That's not the tone.
Yeah, I mean, they just didn't want to go too dark. I think.
Yeah, I mean, I just wonder if that. I wonder if maybe
It was pretty
everything
good.
was going to be more intense like that, and when they pulled back on that, it made they decided to go more slapstick with everything else, or they already had it all planned.
No,
Yeah,
I
I
think a lot
wonder.
of
I
it
mean,
was
I'd love
already pretty silly, though. That's just kind of the tone they're going for.
Yeah, I mean that's the nature of that. Tonally, yeah, that you get that, but it was an opportunity to, again. I mean, I go back to it. I mean, just end on a little bit of a down note. I mean, your post credit scenes kind of do that, but not
Yeah,
really.
right.
And then the post credit, mid credit scene is like builds a little tension, I guess, but the post credit doesn't. That's just a quick, that's just everybody's excited to see Loki again.
We'll
It's a
see that in a
callback.
couple. We'll see
Well,
that
that's
scene in a
that's
couple
one
months.
thing though. There's a lot of people. You got to imagine a lot of people haven't seen Loki though.
Mhm.
I mean, they haven't seen that show, and
Loki
so they
was
had
the
no.
most watched Disney.
It
Plus
made me
show.
glad that I watched it, like
Well,
in
Yeah,
retrospect,
because
having
you
seen the scene.
I gotta say, yeah. I mean, I think I don't know, but
no,
I think
Brian,
you would
the
get
answer is
no,
no.
they
No,
did
Brian,
not have his
no.
van buddy. Sorry, Brian.
Nope.
Sorry,
There's
would've-
one
I
guy
would've
who was
liked a
the
quick-
dude without holes. He did the voice of
he did the
Yeah,
voice.
That's what
yeah.
should have happened. Luis should have just inexplicably have been in the quantum realm
Yeah,
already.
that would have
Oh,
been
yeah.
Serving Kang.
like, why are you here?
Then he
How
could
are
have
you
explained the
And
whole
then he tells
story.
it, yeah,
See
he
what
tells
it
Here's how I got down
was.
here.
Yeah.
He
Oh,
so what
explains
had
the
happened
whole
was-
Story of King. being
Janet's
trapped.
story.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's
Instead
the
of
one
her.
that tells
And
the
she been
story.
slutting around. She got a lot of boyfriends. That's the
Wow.
Janet
Wow.
Van Dyne story. What?
I-
telling-
I did read
Don't
that
you know
there
that?
were no versions of the script where Lewis appeared. That they never they
Right,
never for a
they
second
just-
had
Look, Michael Pena's a busy man.
Oh,
You
isn't
know.
he?
I
though,
guess. Yeah, I guess he
Yes.
is. I mean, Dalmatian apparently isn't. Well,
Yeah.
he just did voice work though.
It's just
I mean,
VO. That's a day.
that's
Yeah.
yeah.
Hey, Randall Park made an appearance.
Yeah,
I did like that.
no vocal though, like no lines,
call-
just yeah.
Yeah.
sleight of hand.
Yep, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I liked this movie way more than all you guys. I guess
Oh,
I don't know.
whoa, whoa,
Well,
whoa,
I
I
want to
I
talk
enjoyed
about.
it.
I like
wanna-
this movie.
I want to
Jacob
talk about the
liked
credit scenes because so the mid
Yeah,
the
yeah,
mid
yeah.
credit scene we see clearly Immortus, clearly Ramatot, and then the third
Yep.
one I've seen a bunch of people say, oh, it's clearly
Crimson.
Scarlet Centurion,
Scarlet
but
Centurion.
Scarlet Centurion is Scarlet, and so maybe this is just Silver Centurion or just Centurion.
Like he's not. Well, they may have taken away the.
Because
Oh,
there's
yeah,
not,
rules.
or they just created a new Kang. I mean,
yeah,
you know.
I
There
knew
was a
like
lot of
one
them.
word you just said, Garrison.
Yeah,
So,
okay,
I mean,
Immortus is the old one that talked
nonsense
like
talk.
this.
Ramatud, Immortus, and
Immortus is supposed to be the most menacing,
So,
even more than
no.
Conqueror, though, right?
well, actually,
No.
he's the good one, right?
Immortus is
Oh,
the
he's
good one.
Yeah,
well, not in
but they
this
made
case.
now
him
he's
bad.
bad,
From
apparently.
some
so.
people's point of view, the good one is menacing.
Mm, mhm.
Hmm.
From a certain point.
No,
of view.
well, the Mortis would like go and try to fix things that Kang messed up
The-
on the time
the-
because
the
he was like an
Conqueror
older,
did.
wiser version who was.
Huh.
It was just the future version of Kang, basically trying to undo things. But
There's
now
some
this one
kind of
seems
like
even,
Iron
so.
Man variant. Have you heard of that? That there's a
Yeah,
Kang
Iron
called-
Lad from
Iron
the Young
Lad.
Avengers. Yeah,
Yeah, it's supposed to be a King variant somehow.
I
Yeah.
read something today that
very
Vision's
confusing.
daughter is going to be in the Young Avengers.
Yeah, he does have. Yeah,
like
he does.
that. Yeah. So
Don't think about it. Don't think
don't
about
think
it.
No,
no,
I
don't-
am. I'm thinking about it.
it's a
Blade
comic
Runner
book thing.
2049 already set the precedent. This is a thing. We can do
But
this.
where I guess what I'm trying to like where the,
No, don't. It's
No.
not.
No,
Not worth it.
They'll
It's not
show
worth
us
it.
in Vision Quest. It'll
Oh
be
yeah,
the-
maybe in Vision Quest.
Oh,
yeah,
in Vision
they'll-
Quest, we'll learn the whole process.
We'll
Yeah.
learn the whole
I know I
process.
don't but so
It's okay, Rhett. It's okay.
How did Decker have children with Rachel?
is
I
it with
mean-
Elizabeth Olsen?
did they when they were making Ultron's suit, did they put some ejaculate in it?
All right, Rhett.
No,
Like-
see, there we
like,
went.
They made they made replicants to make you think they were human. They didn't
Yes.
make Vision to make you think he was human.
Yeah, but maybe Vision made himself that way.
Right, yeah. Like
Weird.
he
Vision
Vision
evolved.
can read.
That's
He can
weirder.
read.
He evolved.
He
No, that's
evolved.
weirder.
Yes,
He had to go get
definitely.
some from
Weirder.
somebody else.
We're
He
really
basically
sorry,
is like
Melissa.
an
You don't
AI,
want to be
though.
a part
I
of
can
this.
see him
It's like-
advancing. in a certain way.
I like this McKinsey person.
really good.
She's
He's
like,
Let it
she's
go,
like,
man.
let it go. Don't overthink it. It's just a comic book character they can pull from and put her in the film. I mean, it is what it is. There's no telling how the comics.
Maybe he
explain
just built her. Maybe he built her.
Yeah, maybe
You're
it's just
watching this and you're like, comic books are stupid. Like, does it even make you think like, you know what? None of this.
Man, I really wish Stan was on here now.
No, like, does any of it ever make you think, you know what? None of this really works.
Yes, that's what I was saying before. Like, it's
I don't.
These movies are incredibly
well,
enjoyable if you can just
me and
turn your
Garrison
brain
must
off.
defend.
Yeah, please defend the
Oh,
medium.
I'm not
the
gonna
whole
defend-
comic medium.
I'm not going to defend the comics from being stupid in a certain sense. I mean, the whole basis for Barry Allen's current origin story is just dumb, bafflingly dumb. It makes no
His
sense.
current one? There's a current
Yeah,
one?
his current one where his mom is dead from a guy from the future that killed him, but if he goes back to change the mom who was always
Wait,
alive,
you're spoiling like
Crisis.
every Flash movie. Every Flash storyline has been.
It turns into a hellscape timeline, which makes no sense. And
It's
it's
chaos theory.
It's just how Harrison. It's
Storm
just
hat.
how time travel works.
Come
it's
on,
not
man.
how
You just
time
don't
travel
get it.
works.
No, you just don't
And what
get it.
what they should have done, Look, I've been thinking about this for
just
years.
how
but
Some time traveler moves a chair, and now Abraham Lincoln's a woman.
But that's the thing. That's the thing. They should have said, "Hey, Barry, here are points that he changed." Barry can
butterfly
figure that out.
effect.
This is comics. Barry can figure out the points that he changed.
Yeah.
Go back, fix all those points, then save his mom, and then everything's fine. But whatever. We got to be stupid. And 10 years later, it's still his origin. Why?
Because it just makes the most sense.
Take it down a notch,
and it's
sir.
way better than any Wally West story ever told.
Okay, yeah, you don't know what you're talking about.
How did Captain
Sir.
America get the reality stuff back into Natalie Portman?
Well,
Now
he
that's
just
a movie I
injected-
would like to see.
I bet he took Rocket's injector and just took it back and injected it.
He probably did inject her.
Yeah. he
Wow.
probably did. All right, Melissa. Do you need to? You were saying about an hour in, you need to head out. Is that right?
I'm okay.
Oh, okay,
Thanks.
good. Okay, good.
Canceled their plans for this.
Oh,
We
man.
still
I
got-
was-
that's
we still
exciting.
got another
No.
2 left.
I know exactly.
She had a hot date and everything.
My gosh.
Sadly not.
So if a synthroid and a mystic, purveyor of the mystic arts get together, they can work something out. There can be
Especially
some,
with the help of the Coven.
Is that a Dune reference?
No,
No,
that's
no.
a Marvel
No.
reference.
Marvel.
That's
I
a-
don't know.
Vision is a synthroid,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
And then she's a witch, and
yeah,
or
Scarlet
she's
Witch is a mystic.
we've got
arts,
ways of working these things out.
But
Yep,
also,
it's-
I think that maybe he just built this Viv.
well,
thing.
I think maybe what if he built it for her because she wanted children?
What if
Oh,
part
that
of-
would be a
oh.
sweet.
what if he
sentiment.
built it and then she like imbued it with magic?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's
And
that's
love,
we're getting
and
real
love,
weird.
and love,
That's
magic
Yeah.
and love.
magic and love.
We could write these movies.
Oh, I don't want to.
So who is? So
A
who is
bunch
the
of weird comic
Kang
book
that we
incest
see
stories.
in the second
erotica.
after credit scene? What Kang is that?
That's Victor
Oh,
Timely, baby.
Victor Timely.
Yeah.
Okay, well, explain what his deal
he's
is.
He's just a Kang that went back in time to like the early 1900s and became an inventor and like established like a town
Yeah.
or something. I've not read the Victor Timely comics, but
Well, so Timely Comics is the name of the original Marvel.
yeah, it's
it's-
one of the names that Marvel used to use. They also
how
used
cute.
Atlas Comics and a
Right,
few
I've
others.
heard of the
But
Atlas.
what they would do is actually they would continue to change the name of their company when they owed the printer money. So they would go
Kept moving.
and
They kept moving.
shift their entire company under a completely new name and say, "Oh well, we don't owe you that money anymore." Yeah.
Does that work?
Yes.
Okay. Let me change my name real quick.
Ooh, will we get a Loki Kang? I don't know if there
What
is
is
a Loki.
The Kang from Loki.
Oh, He Who Remains. I don't think you
He
can
Who
get a
Remains.
guy like that again.
He
He's
Who
dead.
Remains is probably
Until like this is all over, maybe we'll have like He Who Remains back in the top of the chain.
It's all
again.
a big loop.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember when he showed up, a lot of people said, "Oh, this is Immortus because he's the good Kang." But then now I don't know. Like
Not to get too complex, but I would almost love a Kang that his first instance with meeting the Avengers was in Kang Dynasty, but we see him later on in an earlier film before Kang Dynasty, fighting Avengers that he's already fought. but it's the first time
Which he
we're
alluded
seeing
to
people.
that he's killed a lot of Avengers before.
Yeah, sort of.
Have I
Yeah, and
killed you
he says he
before?
doesn't live in a straight line, so I would love to
Yeah.
almost, but maybe that's a little too much
Yeah,
for an
good
audience.
luck getting Gen Pop to follow that story.
Yeah, you lost me.
Well, apparently Gen Pop didn't really like this story either because I mean they gave it a B+, and
Well, and listen, here's the risk. I mean, you've had a couple of these in short period. You had Eternals that was not well received.
Yeah.
You've got
Eternals, but thankfully Spider-Man was the next month, so most people went whatever.
that
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
cleansed the
A lot of
palate.
people
Those
forgot
feel
about
different.
Eternals,
Those
honestly.
feel separate. And
I hope
Yeah.
the studio also forgot about Eternals.
Yeah,
Nuh-uh,
well,
they're
I'm
making
ready.
a second one.
I'm ready
No,
for
they're
the
not.
second, baby.
one.
I don't know.
They haven't announced one.
Yeah, so then Multiverse of Madness was not wonderfully received. Thor
Yeah,
was not
kinda lukewarm.
wonderfully received. So when you have a string like that, people check out. Okay,
Mhm.
and I think the box office is going to bear that out for
Well,
Ant-Man.
but we've also got to remember Ant-Man. I
Evolve.
agree that the box office will reflect that, but also Ant-Man is like a $500 million film anyway, which is
yeah,
why
they're all low. Yeah, they're
they
all
shouldn't have spent $200 million on this
Yeah,
film.
they
They
overdid it on
spent
that.
200
Yeah,
on this.
They were
Yeah.
never going to. But it's a
Oh.
cog in the wheel, and I guess my point is,
Yeah.
it is a cog in the wheel. It is essential for your future viewing.
Right.
Yeah.
And as people drift away, then when the next movie comes out and you say, I never saw Ant-Man,
hmm
probably won't see this one either. And they don't come back.
I do think people come back for Guardians 3. And
Oh,
see what
yeah,
the
yeah,
reception
yeah.
is.
It's
I think-
separate. Again, yeah, it's
Yeah.
not.
What's a new
I
and
think
Well,
it's
they'll
not going
tie
to have
it
a whole lot to
together.
do with the narrative either. Like the
Yeah.
overarching
There's
narrative.
not going to be
They'll-
Kang
they'll-
very
in
standalone.
Guardians Volume 3 now.
Unless he's in an after credit scene.
Well,
Yeah,
maybe,
like after credits. Yeah.
Yeah.
maybe. But I think
Brian,
that-
I don't think that they're ever going to do a film for Disney Plus. I
So
don't-
here's where I could make a not a film but a Disney Plus special, and not this film, but here's, and stay with me here, folks.
okay.
A Kang film where we don't have to get his entire backstory in Quantumania, and it takes up so much runtime.
Mhm.
We could just go into Ant-Man 3, and you do have to set up a little bit, like Brett said, you have to bring in new viewers to this kind of thing, but get this Kang stuff out of the way in a Disney Plus special,
well,
and I think this stuff would flow better.
well, Disney Plus is that's a tough place to put it because not everybody has it.
Yeah.
There are 2 million fewer people have it now than.
Well, but that was
people-
because of India, and
In-
they lost
yeah.
the cricket.
all right.
I
Well,
could go into all of that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but that's when all of that becomes essential viewing also, and there's a lot of it. There's a lot of content, right? There's 5 or 6 times more hours in Phase 4 than there were in everything else combined, or
Mhm.
something, right? Like it's a lot of content. That's another thing that ultimately hurts your downstream viewership. When people fall out of rhythm with it, not everybody catches up. And we're starting to see that. I mean, but phases 1 through 3 were a little bit impervious to that because you knew you were building to this
In game, yeah.
deal, to end game.
But when did you know that?
You knew that by
Phase 3?
you knew
by
that by
Avengers.
you knew that by, well, sort of, but you knew that specifically they announced it right before the release of Age of Ultron,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But you
which
knew, yeah.
Feige and some other upper level people believe hurt the box office for Ultron because people knew that wasn't the ultimate film.
You're going to go. Yeah, everybody's going to make it through this because we got something else. There's no the story ain't going to change that much here. Yeah. Possibly, but people followed along because they knew they had to see Endgame and they wanted to be caught up. And you don't get that sense. And I know they've announced
Kang Dynasty is like the end game of it.
Kang
Yeah.
doesn't resonate with people the way that
I think he'll start to, though. I think he'll
well,
start.
but there's going to be fewer people still around to see it, to see him resonate.
I don't know.
I mean,
Yeah,
you can look at the numbers and know that.
I mean,
Well,
yes,
it's tracking
right. You are
okay.
right. You're right if the movies don't increase in quality. If they keep putting out the low quality stuff and word of mouth is not good, then yeah, you're right. The shelf life is they're going to be less and less.
Well,
people
okay,
coming
but there
to
is
it.
the
high-quality
built-in
movies
audience,
will bring
though.
some people back, but not everybody. And,
Not everybody, but and that's what those first three phases did so well was, oh my gosh, this movie was so good. Captain America: Civil War was awesome.
Mhm.
Spider-Man was in it. Oh my gosh, blah blah blah.
Thor
And if
2,
they can
but
try to
yeah,
capture that again, then
right.
you're
And I don't. But they've done nothing to make you think they can. And
For
Well,
sure.
and then
And I'm in
and they
agreement
do,
there. It's-
and I'll agree with this that they do have a problem with the fact of like what Avengers are going to be in the rest of these movies. Like
Mhm.
what there isn't any left really.
there
I
aren't
mean,
any big
and
draws.
that's kind of a problem.
There's
I mean,
not a big draw. Falcon or Captain America,
Spider-Man.
like Sam.
Spider-Man.
Well, Spider-Man, yeah, and I
Spider-Man.
just read that he's gonna take, he's gonna be a major part of.
Oh,
Kang
yeah.
Dynasty.
He doesn't fit in with that very well. He's a street level kid, and
He's not traditionally
Well,
a
figure it out,
major
though.
Avenger, but in
Right,
the
yeah,
real-
So Melissa, I
I'm
do
just
want to
saying,
ask,
all
like,
that to say there's
I wanna-
problems here, and you're seeing the cracks, and they've not done themselves favor with a weak phase 4. It's going to spiral away from them unless something.
it's going to be fine.
It's not fine now.
I think
It's
Iger
enjoyable.
I think Iger knows this, and I think Feige knows this. I just don't know how soon can changes be made, because look, they're already
In the
there
can.
are already 2 more films in the can and 3 or 4 more shows in the can currently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are
and
the
when
next
do
2
those-
films?
So the next one's
Marvel,
Guardians.
Guardians.
Guardians, which
Guardians-
apparently doesn't have much to do
Guardians
with
and the
anything,
Marvels.
and then Marvels, which will have ramifications. But that's why I was
in
going to ask Melissa,
what way will it have
how
ramifications?
many of the Disney Plus shows have you watched?
All of them.
Oh, so
I
you
finished
went,
them.
You went and watched all of them.
Miss
Okay.
Marvel and all that.
Mhm.
Sorry.
So yeah, I'm worried that,
She-Hulk?
especially with Marvels, that 2 of the 3 main characters are from Disney Plus shows that I don't
but
know.
audiences are going to fall in love with Amon Villani. So I mean, that's just
Possibly, yeah. I think you. No, I don't disagree.
That's fair. That's fair.
I mean, I think. But listen,
I've heard that
so
she
you got-
steals the movie.
so
I
in
mean,
phase 1,
She's
2, and
great.
3,
She's
Feige
great.
said.
Good.
So the internet, YouTube especially, they love to hate things, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Sort of like you.
like
I
you,
like to hate things, but no, but
I
there's
think
a
that-
there's a cottage industry on YouTube
Of course.
hating everything.
Yes.
yeah, of course,
Phase
they
1,
make a
2,
lot of
and
money
3.
doing that.
Phase 1, 2, and 3, nobody hated that stuff. Okay, the people.
I'm sure you could find some.
Oh,
Age of
people-
Ultron.
Not-
People do
no,
not
they're-
like Age of Ultron.
I'm
There-
talking. You know what I mean.
Yeah,
There
Not
was
to the
some
extent-
discourse,
and you,
but
I mean, you guys you're looking for exceptions. I'm telling
Sure.
you,
I
well,
know.
It's
There wasn't a
contrarian
constant-
stuff, might read,
Yeah,
is what
yeah.
you're trying to say.
Yeah.
but it was not like that for phase. There was not major backlash against any of phase 3. Okay, there was.
I would say the closest we got was phase 2, and that was
Thor
Thor
2
Dark
is
World
iffy. Iron Man 2 and 3 were.
and Age of Ultron. But aside that, but then I mean, we immediately got into phase 3, and it was boom, boom, boom,
Yeah,
boom,
yeah.
boom. and
Phase
no one
3
really-
Captain
was
America,
Now,
Winter
think about phase
Soldier.
4. What got blowback from phase 4? Almost all of it.
everything except for like 3 projects: Loki, Spider-Man,
Loki,
Shang-Chi.
yeah.
WandaVision.
But
WandaVision was
Miss
was
Marvel
good,
had
except for,
really
like,
high scores.
the finale. People were mad about the finale.
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, that's true.
But nothing has hit as hard as She-Hulk. Okay, like
Oh, that was a
people
rough.
went after it.
yeah.
I'm talking about that puts an air of negativity over everything. When you have somebody, when you have people hate something as viciously as they hated that, and
Yeah.
And Miss Marvel almost flew under the radar, I think, for most everybody.
Well,
But
critics loved it. There was a love for it.
but and people hated Love and Thunder. I mean, it's
But there was also people like Nate was in the chat earlier that really liked Love and Thunder.
okay, but they're not the ones. They're an exception now. And before it was the
Well,
hate
that
that was
may
the
be
exception,
statistically, you're
and
right.
now it is the loudest voices are the hateful ones, and that is not a good sign. And you guys, you seem to you're going into this with this Pollyanna.
No, I'm not.
You are. You're trying to defend.
We love it. We love
You want to
Marvel.
be, I like movies and they're fun, and I get it, and that's okay. But
What
you
is wrong
also
with this
have to
guy?
recognize that from a quality standpoint, these things are falling off a cliff, and the little bits that are piling up, and that
It's
is
not a
good
parachute.
for
I don't
long-term.
need it to. I'm not jumping off a
You are,
cliff.
no, you guys, this is what you
movies
this is your
hanging off my
breath.
back.
This is the oxygen you breathe. Oh, if I don't love this
That's-
movie, I'll die. So now you have to love it.
Okay.
You're throwing yourselves on the sword.
There's enough good
I
other
know it's
stuff
not-
that if
deep down you know. No,
I was gonna say I literally said the opposite. I said I turned my brain off because I know this is gonna be dumb and I'm
Yeah.
gonna have fun with it.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
We can
You're
escape
falling off the
life.
cliff.
We can
You
go to the
grabbed the
corner.
DVD as a parachute.
I'm not.
Yeah, Rhett, you're
you
speaking
go.
to a guy who rated Age of Ultron like 5 stars on Letterboxd.
Is that out of 5?
That's
Oh, I love Age of Ultron.
I
Right,
like
I
Age of
don't,
Ultron,
but
actually.
Rhett,
I
there's-
love.
I
Age of
know,
Ultron.
exact Fett.
Look at
Thank
that.
you.
Yeah,
I liked it
you're
a lot.
upsetting
I don't
Fett.
go
You're
in-
upsetting
This is
Fett.
how I
I-
relax.
I
don't.
I
That's
think
true.
there
This
are
is,
real
that is how
issues
he
that need to be
recommended.
addressed.
But-
I think that there's also some real.
Okay.
I don't know. There's some studies they need to do, obviously,
No,
with
but
what
listen,
they're.
though, you don't go like there's a spot in your brain
need
for
to do-
comic book movies. You
Yes.
know you're not going into watching a Scorsese film or something.
No,
These
I
are
grade
comic
all
book
my-
movies.
I just
mean,
grade films how I grade them. I don't really.
I
Yeah,
don't-
me too. Listen, I'm not a film snob. I like some absolute garbage. Okay, like
Oh,
I do.
too. I do too.
You know, hey, one of my top 5 movies is The Cutting Edge. Okay, don't come at me like I love those terrible Transformers movies. Okay,
It's true, he does.
but I mean,
Well,
but
I think
these
you'll like
very-
Beast Wars, is all I'll say. But
Yeah, these are but what's happening with the MCU right now, and I'm not even talking about personal opinion. I'm talking about very broadly in the world. The property is diminishing itself. Whether you guys love it or not, I'm telling you, at large, it is diminishing.
well, that's why I brought up the stats. There
Yeah.
are worrying trends there.
There are.
I fully
don't-
agree with those
I-
statements, but
I
I don't think
don't-
this movie is fully indicative
Well,
of that.
No, I don't think so
That's
either.
what
I don't
I'm
think it's
trying to
fully
say,
indicative of
Roth,
that
in
either.
the sense of I don't know that the scores are fully reflective of the movie. It may be
Yes.
also reflective of a compounding frustration with
Mhm.
Marvel. Because there's no way Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania is the worst Marvel film.
No, that's
No, I
a
didn't hate it. I
stupid-
was angry. Multiverse of Madness. I walked out pissed off at how crap it was. Love and Thunder.
Wow.
I wasn't angry at Love and Thunder because I was embarrassed for Love and Thunder. Yeah, I was. It's awful. And,
No, it's. I
I
mean, the
didn't feel
hammer
that with
comes and.
I didn't feel that with
You
Ant-Man.
felt the love in Love and Thunder.
I was just apathetic and kind of indifferent. You know, I mentioned it a couple of days ago when we were talking about 1923. This penultimate episode of season 1 wasn't very good, and it wasn't awful. It was, I think, it was among the worst of the season, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
It's not just crap TV, but it put you in the mindset of, well, maybe this whole thing isn't that good, and that's what Ant-Man did. It wasn't good enough to make me think that we're on the upward trend.
On the upward trend.
It felt like
Okay.
everything else feels. It feels like they don't really. The creatives that were there before are either long gone or they're distracted.
I think they're stretched thin.
Some of that, there is some of that. There's too much content, and you don't want to say that because we like movies, right? We want to see all of them. You like the big screen experience, but there's a lot of Marvel content. There's only so much room for it in every place. Not everybody's going to take it. The degree of quality starts to vary wildly, and people walk away. And that's what I'm saying. Is that
chill, baby cake?
I am chill, but I don't want you guys to.
This is me chill.
Some of you are in denial over how good MCU is anymore.
You're in denial of our denial.
Very good.
I object.
I deny your denial.
Wait, could there be a scenario where we enjoy this, Rhett? Could it be that we actually really
Only
do?
if you're moron.
We're not.
Okay.
I'm a moron.
Guilty.
It's okay to love it.
And yeah, possible that less is more. I mean, and he's talking about Rhett, not the movie.
I'm not mad at anybody for liking the movie, and I'm not even this isn't even about that.
Like, I didn't give it 5
broadly.
stars. I gave it like
I know.
3.5.
I know,
Yeah,
but I gave
it an 81.
I think it's because it's on the edge of
Marvel will be
good,
back.
bad. It's
I
nothing
don't think it's
remarkable. It's
bad,
not
though.
remarkable. And now
it's not
because
remarkable.
of
Okay.
everything else you've had.
If your
you've got a lot of
gauge is
bad
it's not
press happening.
remarkable, it's not remarkable, but it's not bad either, though.
I know. I didn't say it. I'm saying it's not good enough to make a difference.
See,
and what MCU needs
well,
is a difference.
No, but
I
okay,
listened to a really interesting conversation with some guys named Christopher McQuarrie, Lauren Balfe,
Wow,
Simon Pegg, and Haley.
Name
sounds
Atwell.
like a bunch of nerds.
Never
to me.
heard of
Drops.
and they got to talking about
Where
what
did you see
makes
them?
what makes Mission Impossible so great, and that is that they one of the things that Lauren Balfe really talked about. I mean, the direct quote I have written down is, "It's not about the fans; it's about the audience," and I mean that from the sense of fans are important; they're great. Fan service can
You
be
need
good,
a core.
but how does the audience react to a film? Not everyone is a fan, and fans seem to generally either like this film or love it, or one of the two. Not a lot of them that I've seen hate on it, but the audience is not loving it. And how does the MCU get back to reaching the audience?
The
again?
audience.
Okay,
Well,
that's good. I'll take that.
That's what I just said.
Yeah, but
I know,
Lawrence Balfe. But you're no Lawrence
That's why I
Balfe.
added that on.
Yeah, you're no Lawrence Balfe, Red.
Well, I'll say
Lauren Balfe.
Let me say this.
Whatever.
So John Campea was reviewing this movie, and he said,
Somebody else name drop a guy. Hurry.
I'm gonna drop. I watched.
So Red had these interesting things to say.
No, we've heard all that. We've heard all that.
What did Campia say?
Well, Campea just said he feels like the magic is gone. He said they had such a streak from like Winter Soldier through.
You can
Avengers
always get the
Endgame.
magic back, though.
You can get
Well,
that.
no,
But
and
no, no,
again,
but
he didn't
can
say
you?
that they can't. He
Let's
just
make an
said it's
analogy to
gone.
sports.
He said
Look at the
last four
Patriots.
movies have been gone.
The
So-
Patriots had
All
this
is on
great
film.
run with Brady, Belichick, won 6 Super Bowls. They're
He
never
certainly-
going to reach that again. I don't
No,
think
they
we're
won't.
ever going to reach Endgame again, and that shouldn't be our goal. That's
Yeah,
that's an
absolutely.
aberration.
Tom Brady doesn't play for the Patriots anymore. Tony Stark doesn't play for the Avengers
Exactly.
anymore. You
Yeah.
don't have a
That's the
a
toughest
cast
thing.
of characters now
That people care
that
about.
can gin up the interest that you did before. You don't have it. You don't have the charisma.
Which
You
is
don't
why
have the relation, the
Yeah, Paul Rudd,
relatability.
he's charismatic.
I do have to say this.
Paul Rudd.
No, he's not charismatic.
Paul Rudd
Charisma
is
is not what
He's a lovable side character in Avengers
Mhm.
film.
correct.
Yeah.
There is nobody who can carry this. You say Spider-Man, he's a marquee character. There are no other marquee characters here who can carry the franchise anymore.
And I
Evangeline
really
Lilly
Spider
will
thing
come forth.
I do think they wanted Chadwick to be one of those guys.
for sure.
Oh, sure, of
That-
course.
oh,
they
And
did.
that is an
they broke.
unfortunate casualty
Yeah.
Could have
in a
recast
lot of
him.
senses.
It is, but the reality is that that's gone.
Yep.
That's
You just
not
have
gonna
to
happen.
deal
And
with
they
that.
chose
Shuri
not
ain't
to
it,
recast
okay?
him.
Yeah,
It's okay.
Shuri
They've got
ain't it.
Shuri. Shuri or
she's
whatever her
not it.
name is.
And
Well,
I,
They've got Evangeline
It's
Lilly.
not-
She'll
it's not
bring the
Sam,
Ant-Man
it ain't Sam
franchise.
Wilson, okay? It ain't the
Well,
Winter
wait a
Soldier.
minute now. Let's not.
It's not. He's not going to carry this franchise, and you'll see that when his movie bombs.
It's not gonna.
No, it's
bomb.
not gonna bomb.
It's
Come
not
on.
gonna bomb.
Holy
He's- in
Lord,
fact,
you
it's
guys
gonna
are
be-
absolutely in.
It's going to get a
No,
Wakanda.
I don't
boost.
disagree with what Red's saying. I disagree with him about his thoughts on Ant-Man Quantumania. I agree with him with his larger MCU. I think the
What about
fans of
Bucky?
Marvel need to rethink on what they are going to expect. And I think it would have been
They
smart.
can't. You can't get audiences can't rethink
sure.
that. I mean, they can't. I mean,
They
They're
have to.
going to be very
That's how they're-
disappointed because you cannot recapture that magic of phases 1 through 3.
Here's the thing, and King Dynasty and Secret Wars cannot be a retread of Infinity War and Endgame
No.
either. By the way. My understanding is they really don't want to do that.
Yeah.
They
Here's
don't want to be a
the line.
three-parter.
Here's their opportunity.
Mhm.
Fantastic Four.
that's
Yeah.
true.
Mhm.
They better
You
they better
need-
cast that,
You need to get their asses in the MCU sooner rather than
Right.
later.
and they're
Okay.
waiting too long on that.
And I don't know
X-Men.
what the plan is for X-Men.
X-Men's going to be past Phase 6. My
I know,
understanding.
and
That's
so
too
that's-
long. I
So
don't
you
understand
can't
that.
rely on them. So without so Fantastic Four, Spider-Man. Now, who is the roster? Right?
They've got
who do you
to
have
cast
that
it
get
well.
people's butts in seats? It ain't the Marvel.
They got Wiccan and Speed.
Okay, well,
for the
let's
Young
talk
Avengers.
about that in
No,
general,
but-
though.
You're making my point, Earl. Nobody gives a crap about those guys.
Now,
They are
we can-
nothing.
We could
Wait
talk
till-
about Florence Pugh and Haley Steinfeld. I mean,
No, but here's the
they're not
problem.
going to get butts in seats.
No,
They're
here's the
getting-
problem.
get my
Well,
butt in seats.
They will
There's
get my
no-
butt.
there's
They will get my
no-
butt in any seat they want my butt in.
Unless Reed Richards is Tom Cruise, they ain't getting any. But there's like no,
No,
there's no
he-
They're
superstars
character-
anymore.
I'm
There's
not
no-
talking about the actors. I'm talking about the
character's
characters.
I
bigger than the
am.
actor in that
It
sense.
has to be the actor has to be a big name.
But-
You can't cast
Chris
Penn
Evans wasn't a
Badgley
big name.
as Reed Richards and expect people to go see that movie.
I disagree.
Yeah, you
Oh
can't.
no, you guys.
I
So
would
the casting
love-
was never the problem.
so-
with
the only
Fantastic
reason
Four.
Iron Man works is Robert Downey Jr. That's the only reason Iron Man works.
No.
Yes.
Iron Man would be great with Tom Cruise. Iron Man would be
Well,
great with
that's what I'm saying.
Whoa,
Somebody his
well,
caliber. Somebody his
But, okay,
big. That's
yes,
a big name.
but- So
I don't know.
again, well,
Downey
Iron Man came
Jr.
out in
rate.
2008. I was like 13. I think that's the right math.
Damn
So,
it.
so I don't know how big of an effect Robert Downey
Gross.
Jr. had on Hollywood at
a
that
huge
time.
effect.
But
A
was
huge
it
effect.
was it
Well, it was
him
a
that was the
comeback.
draw, or was it this? Hey,
was
here's
for
this
me.
superhero movie.
It was a comeback. movie for
RDJ was
him.
the that was
I
totally
mean,
the draw.
don't get me wrong.
No,
Yes, he
it
was.
wasn't the draw.
Be right back, guys.
RDJ was a disaster before that.
Yes.
Sorry,
He was a
Melissa.
disaster. That was his comeback. He wasn't.
And
a
see, that's
draw.
what I was
He a
thinking.
draw
No, that's
now.
what I'm saying. That was his comeback picture. Everybody wanted to see him succeed, so
They-
everybody went.
They
and saw
went
it.
to go
That's
see
not
this
why they went
cool
to
new
see the movie.
superhero movie.
Nah.
That
That's
the
not why they-
trailer had
You've got to
back in
cast
her
a big
Iron Man
name.
playing in the
He
trailer,
wasn't
and
a
they're
big
like,
name at the
Look,
time.
I
agree.
love
Looks pretty.
RDJ, and I do think he brought a lot to the character.
And Chris
Yeah.
Evans.
And later
you have to have big
on-
names.
Chris
Later
Evans wasn't a
on-
big name
they
either.
weren't big
Yes,
names
he
at the time.
was.
Not at the
That's
time.
Chris
Not-
Hemsworth
not
was
to
a
Gen Pop,
nobody.
not
He
to
was
Gen
an
Pop.
unknown.
No,
He wasn't a big name to Gen Pop.
Michael. Nobody knew Chris.
These
Evans.
guys became bigger names as it went on. Hemsworth
Yes.
was not a big name.
Hemsworth was
Chris
not
Evans
known
was not a
at
huge
all.
name. RDJ
Okay,
was
that's
in the
fair.
gutter.
That's
I
fair.
mean, you know.
He wasn't
Yeah,
in
he
the-
was literally in the
He's not-
gutter.
He was just naked in somebody's house. It's different.
He pulled a Chad Kelly.
Oh yeah, he did. Oh yeah, he
Oh
did.
boy. Oh boy.
So that's my point here, and is
I'm just saying you can't go unknown with the Fantastic Four though. You got to have
Well,
some
okay,
names.
Disagree.
So-
Hire the best actors.
yes, hire the best actors, but you also want to take a look at who they are as a person on, like, not just on like social media, but how they're going to act
Connect.
with an audience and be able to be that charismatic
Right.
person outside of the role and
That's
out
why
on
Mel-
the press
that-
you need an
tour.
that's why-
ambassador. An
That's
ambassador.
why
I
Miss
think.
Marvel
Yes.
works. That's why Emel
Yeah,
Villani.
for sure.
I mean, she's great with, and she was a fan coming in, but
Yeah.
she has that magnetism. Now Brie Larson, on the other hand, I don't know what her deal
She's
is.
so off-putting,
You
but I
can't
love
expect
her.
everybody. You can't expect everybody to click with on
Mhm.
a personal level with the audience. I mean, if they do their role in a workmanlike, efficient way, then you're going to get some of that too. They don't 100% of them have to be the face of the franchise. But what I'm saying is and I'm not talking about the actors. I mean, you're talking about, well, we've got to cast so and so. That ain't the point. It's the roster of characters
yes,
that no one is interested in.
you have to get them. You have
I
to
mean,
get them interested.
Shang-Chi is not that's not a mainstream character. I
No,
enjoyed
but
that
it did
movie.
really well at the box office
It
for the
did.
time.
Well,
Yeah.
it's a fun movie, okay,
Yeah.
and maybe
Well, nobody
maybe
knew the
because
Guardians.
It worked pretty well.
Yeah.
People will connect with him.
No,
and
a lot of
Mhm.
people knew Chris Pratt, but not the Guardians of the Galaxy. I
Right.
mean, that's
Nobody
why
knew
right.
that.
that's why casting can be important here. I
But
mean,
Chris Pratt, no one went. I'm going to see the Guardians because of
Yeah,
Chris
the
Pratt.
reason, it was a surprise when he was cast because you're like, well, that's the guy from Parks and Rec because that's all he had at that time
Mhm.
was Parks and he went from Parks
but
and
that's
Rec.
what I'm saying. That was a big
Guardians.
deal.
but
though.
people
that was
know
a popular
who he
show.
is, but-
Was Jurassic World was after Guardians, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
Guardians was
Yeah.
his thing because he
He
got
got-
ripped
yeah, that-
in
Mhm.
Parks and Rec for Guardians.
Yeah.
That final season or whatever.
Yeah.
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 So
So that's,
Melissa, not that I'm putting you on the spot because you're representing Gen Pop or whatever. I don't think that you are. But I mean, what
It's
thoughts
fair.
on all this? Thoughts on all this crap that Rhett's saying?
Not leading the witness.
Check.
Objection.
Objection, Your Honor.
Like, do you, in general, like about some of this stuff that we're talking about?
So I
Hey,
really.
before you say that,
Why won't you let her
you look-
speak?
Why
hang
does
on,
there have to
you
be
look-
a caveat? Stop
You
it!
look,
Don't
you
do
look
it!
beautiful
Don't
today,
stop it!
Melissa.
Stop it!
All right,
Don't
leading
do
the
it.
witness.
Leading the witness from the other side.
I know,
now.
right? Golly.
Man, the flattery it'll get you everywhere. All right. So so I came in on the tail end of this conversation, right? I had to take a phone call. But I think that it's a good point about the casting, right? Like I had zero, had I not been on a mission to watch all of the movies and catch up in the franchise and watching them in order, and I was very determined to finish no matter what, right? Outside of that, I would have had zero interest in Shang-Chi. Like that's not a movie, that's not a type of movie or a style I ever would have watched, and I don't know who that guy is. Okay.
Nobody did.
Chris Pratt.
Still can't remember his name.
He absolutely drew me to see Guardians. I still didn't see it when it came out. life got in the way, but had I been available around that time, that would have been a definite
So casting
draw.
matters.
It would have been a draw.
Okay, but Mikey. Casting matters in a certain sense. You have to hit on the casting, then the guy becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. Jonathan Majors is a great a version of this.
Oh, he's already
seeing
huge.
this right now. He was not huge.
Kidding.
He got hired for Kang.
I know.
He's blown up.
So, but from what I'm getting from everybody, or my understanding of it is that this next phase has lesser known characters. Is that a fair statement?
Well, I mean,
lesser known unless you're like a huge comic book fan.
Well, they're trying to get the Fox guys in there, but then also
I don't know if I have the. Do you have the phase thing that you can pull up quickly, Garrison?
Or phase 5, sorry, but
do you have the list of movies you can pull up quick?
Well, it's not just movies; it's those crap TV shows. You got Thunderbolts.
I could just name them off. You got.
Yeah, that's
Guardians,
just name them off. Name them off.
You may not have
Daredevil's coming.
After that, you've got Captain America: New World Order.
Okay, so that's after what? After Marvels?
Yes.
Okay.
That's in May, and then in what is after that? There's something after that.
That won't be in May. That's going to get pushed. I promise.
That may be Thunderbolts after that. There's no Planet Hulk currently.
Thunderbolts is not that's.
But they do want to set that up. Yes.
Well, they've got some good casting going on with Thunderbolts.
B roster.
So
B and C roster characters.
Thunderbolts could be a fun movie, but my understanding is it's basically just Black Widow 2 starring Florence Pugh.
Yeah,
but
so as a casual viewer, all the previous phases there was something that I knew or some connection I could make and my own cultural consciousness where I could have been had I had the time to see them that looks pretty cool because I think I know about this, and this. I grew up as a casual viewer of more DC properties. Okay. But in this next one, there's things that I have never, ever heard of.
Speaking true.
And I agree that there aren't any big superstars anymore.
Yeah, that's
in general. Yeah, I'm not.
That's
I think in general,
there are no more movie stars.
Like Tom Cruise is maybe
besides Tom Cruise.
Right.
Yeah,
that's it. I think there is a generation now that could be that in 10 years, maybe.
I don't know.
Too many
Zennials don't go see movies, so I don't know.
No, they don't read either, according to Mikey.
They can't read. 64% of
I can't understand why that girl at work did.
She didn't think that was funny.
No, she didn't think it was funny. I just said I'm surprised you read a book. She didn't think that was funny.
Oh man, Michael.
Thanks.
Well, I mean,
But
so I can see all the sides. Yeah. I can see all the sides.
I mean, the box office receipts are in. I mean, the Top Gun Maverick was really the only huge movie besides Avatar, obviously.
I was supposed to say.
I mean, so you've got. For some reason, people are connecting with that type of stuff more.
Huge movie. I mean, Doctor Strange made 400 domestic and almost $1 billion worldwide. Didn't you have China? That's insane. Look at the numbers the first film got, and then the second film actually went up during COVID. Yeah. And that's insane.
Okay,
I know that part of that draw was the multiverse, and some people weren't happy with it. But the thing is, it did actually have decent legs at the box office.
Do you think that the general population
I think Ant-Man's unfortunately probably going to hurt it.
Well, do you think moviegoers and TV watchers now are getting oversaturated with the idea of the multiverse? It's been one thing after another.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think so. I think they need to move away from the whole multiverse.
I don't think the concept matters. I think it's the execution of the concept. And if you're going to keep putting out something that's bland or bad with that concept, then yes, people will go, this sucks. But if you're putting out exciting, fun, new, fresh stuff, people are going to go, wow, I really want more multiverse.
I think that Guardians is going to be so good that I think it's going to save whatever happened with Ant-Man. Because I feel just on the previews alone, I feel like emotionally, Guardians is going to be good. That people are going to want to see
how
it
many
more
characters
than
are going to
life.
continue on?
But that's the end of the James Gunn era, right?
That is the end of the James Gunn era. He's
So
probably not coming
people
back for
trust
much.
them right now, and
What's the multiple that you take? Ant-Man made 120 million. What's the multiple that you usually apply to box office? Is it 2.5? What's the? It's not 2.5. It's
what are you talking about?
2.1.
Multiple in
There's
terms of
if you can predict overall box office with a reasonably high degree of accuracy by taking I just don't remember what the multiple is.
Are you talking about legs?
Well, you predict the final box office.
Like I don't think it's going to be. I don't. There's a lot of people that think it will make 500 worldwide. I don't know that it will.
Well, worldwide it will, but it sure is like going to get anywhere close in America. Domestic.
Well, that would be the best.
So,
that would be
let's see. Okay,
where Ant-Man's done. I mean,
Thor: Love and Thunder had 2.38 for legs. So just go ahead.
Okay, well, let's give it a 238. That puts it at about 300 million. Okay. That ain't good.
Domestic or worldwide?
Domestic.
That's the best an Ant-Man film's done, though. But
yeah, that's the thing. I mean, it's still that's what I mean.
So
it's still doing well saying. Domestically.
I get what you're saying, but it's such a weird curve for this film because it's the most hype an Ant-Man film's ever gotten. So yes, it's going to probably do the best an Ant-Man film's ever done.
And it's kind of a box office desert right now too, right? There's not a
and so it's a great time for them to release it. Yeah.
March is pretty big, but yeah, February was.
I mean, look, this is February. When did? I'm trying to remember when Black Panther was released. It was
November.
November. Okay, yeah, it carried on into because I saw it again in February.
Yeah, it carried.
That's what. Okay.
No, you didn't see it again in February. You saw
it
in
in
January.
I did. I saw
where
Black Panther in DC. I think.
You went to okay.
But it was still around.
That's impressive.
I think this is a little bit of a harbinger. It is. I mean,
watch Guardians. Let's before you say that Guardians is going to make a lot of money.
It's separate. It's not.
What do you mean it's separate?
It's not part of the whole arc.
We'll tie it together.
It's not part of the narrative, and it has a different.
You don't know. There may be a king in it.
Because you saw
King's not in it.
Just because you saw Ant-Man doesn't mean. Or just because you see Guardians doesn't mean you saw Ant-Man, and it doesn't mean you're going to see Marvels. Okay, it's a little bit isolated, and I frankly don't think it's going to make. I mean, it's not going to be the end all be all box office that you.
Well, it does have the benefit of coming out.
You're talking about things like, "Well, this is James Gunn's last hurrah." Whatever. Gen Pop has no idea about any of that.
Do you think Disney Plus? Here's a thought. Do you think Disney Plus has affected the box office, Simon? That people
because people know it's going to be on. There in
it'll be on.
Days.
I'll wait 40 days and watch it.
100%.
But I guess my retort
Even
to
for
that
these
is
movies.
retort to that is these films are doing better than ever in terms of last year. Okay, Doctor Strange outperformed the first movie. Thor: Love and Thunder outperformed Ragnarok without China because it didn't have China. So technically, Ragnarok did better. But
box office goes up. I mean, if you look at the years. Box office goes up generally. I mean, you make more money now than you did. Ticket prices are higher now than they were.
Well,
okay, but the costs go up too. The profit margin, the margins
strengths
are lower.
Yeah,
and that matters. I mean, it's not just box office. I mean, we talk on box office because that's the easier thing.
That's the easier.
I totally understand. I understand budgets. I understand profit margins. I understand 2.5 times multiplier to be profitable.
Did you take that class in college?
I didn't take a class, but we've discussed some of that in classes. But I grew up with my dad going to Box Office Mojo every Sunday. But anyway, it's a really complex conversation. But the point I was just making is that the MCU has, I think this has been coming for a little bit, and I think again this is all being put on Ant-Man because of compounding frustration.
Yeah,
and we will have to watch the box office performance for this to see how it does. But the MCU could right the ship, is I guess what I'm trying to say. And as a hopeful fan, I hope that they do.
How could they?
Look, that's not my business.
Well, hey, which one is Waldron writing?
Which
one is Waldron writing?
He's Loki guy, right?
Secret Wars.
So he's doing Secret Wars. Okay.
Yes.
Here's my takeaway.
I think Waldron's good.
Roth and Garrison more or less agree with me. Melissa's kind of on the fence, and Michael and Earl are just way out in left field.
That's
Okay, I agree with you about the audience, but I still had fun.
Yeah, no, and I guess I've stopped talking about Ant-Man. I think Ant-Man is only a symptom, and it is. I mean, it's fine.
It's like a boil on the body. It's like a
It's not
pustule.
even that.
needs
Like,
to be lanced.
No, it's just a cough, and then you start to like,
Sorry.
oh my gosh, this guy's sick. This guy might
Look,
have
we don't need to talk
pills.
about
And then you
coughs.
start to look into it. You do an examination. Why are you coughing? And you find out he's got pancreatic cancer. That's the MCU. Okay.
What the hell?
Should have gotten checked up a phase ago.
Yeah, gee.
Check up a face again. They neglected their doctor's appointment.
I will say that I think they should have done something similar to what Star Wars should have done with their sequel trilogy. They set the sequel trilogy without the original 3 characters. I think it's much more successful. I think it's a better story. I think if they then like some of the
If
movies
they had
after
them meet,
Endgame,
if they had them in the same scene together,
No,
Just
if
one
they,
tell that too.
if they got rid of them, then they're unshackled from them, right?
Yeah, well,
Well-
exactly, and that's some of the problems that we're having right now. Is
We need a
is
Robert
Ant-Man?
Downey
Are we
Jr.
going to see Ant-Man ever again? Who knows? Are we going
Not
to see
after
Thor
the
ever
first
again? Are we
episode
going
of
to
this
see
movie.
Chris
No,
Pratt
they-
ever
he'll be
again in
in
the MCU after Guardians 3? We don't know. So if we would have, if they
Probably
eventually
in the
give us a
Avengers.
Who'd you ask
finality,
about? Who'd you ask about? Who?
I asked about them all.
Any of them. Yeah, you don't.
It's a general question. Like if they need
Don't
to give
worry.
finality.
Shuri's
on
back.
that.
Black Panther will be
I
back.
can
Don't
tell you
worry.
there is an actor who says he's not coming back, and I would believe him.
Chris Evans.
No, it's that. What's his name? Batista.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Hmm.
Who
Yeah,
cares
that
I
doesn't
want him to
But-
do other stuff, just like
for,
Michael.
for
Yeah,
our really
I
big
mean,
characters that are that have led phases 1 through 3, we have not gotten any finality on them except for Iron Man and Captain America. And
Well,
kind of
no, I
Black
don't
Widow,
even think that there's not total finality on Captain
Yeah, they could
America.
always bring him back.
They
That's
could
just-
always
No, sure,
bring.
and I think that's a
You
problem.
guys, listen,
That's a problem. You
No
need
one,
to
no one has ever really
you need to
gone.
rebuild your base. You need to rebuild your base with these new characters. You need to find the characters and rebuild that base and take time. They're
Yeah.
not taking time. They're just like, nope, this next thing has to be the next big thing and has
Yeah.
to be the next end game. And it's not going to be.
this
It's
is
not going to be the
wicked
next Civil War. It's not going to be the
Mephisto
next
argument.
Iron Man 2.
Where you guys get tied up on all these remote possibilities where there's no basis to believe that. It's like
To believe what?
King the Conqueror is not dead.
in 1999, in
I would
Ralph
agree
2000,
with
Boner.
you.
There
Ralph
was a
Boner is coming
guy-
back.
there was a scooper named Super Shadow.
Yeah,
And
the Star Wars guy. Yeah.
He was a Star Wars guy, and he
Yeah.
insisted that Darth Maul was going to be the villain throughout the prequel trilogy. That
Yeah.
he was going to be that he survived the fall. Now he ended up being right in the wrong way.
in the
okay?
wrong way.
He,
Yeah.
he stumbled into it was such a stupid idea that he ended up being right later.
Right.
Okay.
Later. Way later though.
But there was nothing. It was like, oh, even a scene where he's fighting Qui-Gon, and Qui-Gon, there's a moment where Qui-Gon kind of backs up a little bit while he's facing Darth Maul. And I've seen this movie a million times, so I know it. And
Right.
people speculated about that single moment. They were like, oh, he read Darth Maul's mind. He saw all the future and all this other crap. And that's the kind of crap that you guys lean in on when you say Captain America, they can bring him back.
They
can
could bring him back.
Who are you- okay,
they
you're
bring
not
him back.
you're not
It's
you
all
guysing me.
in.
No, that was just me. He's just
Okay.
talking about me.
I mean,
and maybe a little bit Dr. Earl.
Let me just,
Come back.
Yeah, because I said it.
The
Don't bring
points
him
I
back.
was making was agreeing with you.
okay. Let me just say this. If
Let's take
if,
it down a notch.
if-
Let's bring it
Yeah.
down.
This is me down enough. I did cocaine bear levels of coke earlier.
No,
if
That doesn't have notches.
I'm all jacked up on
This is
Mountain
the
Dew.
one on and off.
Right.
No,
Okay.
there's no notches. It's just
if Marvel
I got another one on
Studios
standby right now.
oh my God. How are you still walking?
if
He
Marvel
said another Mountain Dew on
Studios
deck.
bring us the wisdom.
We're going to have to wrap this up soon. I've got dialysis to do.
if
That's right. Kidneys are dead.
Chug.
if Marvel Studios if Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. are not in Secret Wars, that is a failure by the part of Marvel Studios.
Agreed.
100%.
Agreed.
They'll
They're
bring him back to the
100%
multiverse.
failure.
It'll be a variant, Rhett. It'll be the
It's just
It'll be the
That's what
superior.
Secret Wars is,
It
Rhett.
takes away. It's cheat. It takes away your
For an
emotional
event,
finality.
an
Not for an
event
event.
where they come in one time and go away, I'm like, whatever.
Maybe, but that's cheap. I mean,
It's like John Krasinski showing up as Reed Richards. It's just an event.
well, that was to prove a point that nobody actually wants to see Jim as Reed Richards.
I do. I would.
Yeah, I mean,
but
I
instead they're going to go
just-
young.
they
They're going to
wrote
have
the
to go.
They made the character so stupid
Well-
that now it's sour.
Well-
Like it soured everybody on it.
And not just that, they also gave him horrible eye line on some of those scenes. He's not
Yeah.
even looking at Doctor Strange. But anyway,
Yeah. Well, none of them were ever in the same room together. You know?
No, yeah.
Oh
yeah,
I mean,
Elizabeth Olsen didn't even know
that slave labor in the effects department. You don't even have to get people in the same room anymore.
let me
I'm
also
sure
make
the Uyghurs
let me also make the comment about the VFX and the complaints from the industry. Look, at
We
the end of the
gotta
day,
stop with all
that's-
that, yeah.
that's not Marvel. That is Marvel takes the lowest bidder, and the
Right.
bidder is the house, and the house bids low, and then makes their workers go through all
Yes.
that.
Yeah,
Exactly.
You mean House Mouse?
No, no, but you look at these movies. I was watching the credits on Ant-Man, and there were like 35 effects
30.
companies.
Yeah, there was a lot.
It used to be there was one, and
It was either
Nice.
Weta or ILM, and
yeah,
that was,
right,
it was
I mean,
either one of those
it's all
two.
gotten really
And now
silly.
Weta and ILM work on everything. So
Mhm.
Yeah,
And there's not
And
that
so
much
does Skywalker
money to
Sound.
go around. You know, they name there are 3,000 people in the credits, and they all got to get paid, right? So
Mhm.
you have to render them basically slaves.
Yep.
You have to beat the productivity out of them.
Yep.
Pennies for a day.
don't know that.
I mean, you
Yeah,
see,
they're
you see
making-
Where are we going?
Make iPhones all day. They
It's
go
like a
and
chef
render
with their workers,
graphics
right?
all
Well,
night.
no, I'm just kidding.
yeah.
No.
She's like, no,
Yes, chef.
We don't go there.
Yes,
we
chef.
don't talk about that. We don't.
It is like a program
Yes,
director,
chef.
though.
It is like a program. This is
like-
taking
It's
a
okay.
ugly turn.
Pretty
menu.
soon AI will be able to create all these
It's
movies
just-
for us. and we
They'll
won't
make
have to worry
fake.
about all
Yeah,
that.
just say I'll just crap it out, and we'll be
Yeah,
good.
AI will do
effects
all
were-
AI
that.
Deucecast.
Yeah,
If
that,
it would.
the
Recreate
volume,
the-
Michael. You even in your glowing review, your love making to the movie
Yes, that's
graphic,
exactly what was
rusting
happening.
on the movie.
That's
You
what
even
was happening.
acknowledge that the volume is a little distracting sometimes. In some of these.
Only in Mandalorian.
That was not
What?
Mandalorian that you were talking about. That was Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, okay, maybe Book of Boba Fett. Maybe Book of
No,
Boba Fett.
it was.
Mikey's got this like weird hate for Mandalorian ever since Andor.
Yes,
I don't get
it's
it.
oh. Talk about beating
'Cause
something out of
I'm
somebody. I'm
just
going to beat that out of
worried
you. The
They've
Mandalorian is
made
great.
something so good that my Mandalorian's not going to meet those
It
expectations.
will. It'll be fine.
I'm just worried. It's just
Andor
a
was a
worry,
fine
Garrison.
show. It was
Andor
not
was
the greatest
good.
thing ever given to
Hell,
Disney Plus.
yes, it was.
Andor better than Breaking Bad.
I don't disagree with that. I think Breaking Bad is wildly overrated.
There's a lot of
got-
shows
I
that are
accidentally
wildly
got him
overrated.
on my side.
He was trying to
It
trigger him.
backfired.
Andor
Now
is
Red
good.
doesn't know what to say because somebody
Andor is
agreed with him.
good. It's
He's speechless.
it's close to great. It's a
Oh,
fine.
it's great. Andor
no,
is
no,
great.
it's-
It
It's
is.
close
It
to great.
is.
I agree.
yeah,
Jacob
it's
and I are
close
on
to
the same
great.
page.
It's great.
It's great.
especially just as a show in a bottle.
Yes.
In the
a show.
Star
It's
Wars
not a-
universe,
to
it's
me,
good.
it's not a great show. It's not paced super well, but let's not
Mm-mm.
get into this. Yeah.
It was paced
Let's not jump. Let's not jump.
it was paced like
This is
Chernobyl.
the
I mean,
Ant-Man
it's the same
discussion.
type of.
Hey,
Which
everybody!
also,
Thanks for
I
being
didn't
with
think
us today.
Chernobyl was the greatest
What?
HBO show ever either.
What are we
Many,
talking
many
about?
better
Let's
HBO
be
shows
honest,
than Chernobyl.
Craig Mason is writing off of things that he can adapt now instead of having to write his own thing.
That's
but-
true. That's true. That's true. But when in Rome.
So, what's the final verdict? The movie sucked.
No,
The movie was fun. It was
No.
good.
no, I'm not going to agree to that. I'm
Here's
not
the
gonna
final
agree to that.
verdict.
There's no
This-
final
The
verdict.
movie was a
We all-
fun movie. The MCU is in a lot of trouble.
I would with
Even,
audiences there is a sense that the MCU is in trouble. Yeah.
And Michael, you think, just to clarify your position, you think the MCU has never been better than it is right
That's
now.
not what I said. I said
You're
it's not in
Endgame is
trouble.
scoring
No,
your
I
answer
said it's
and
not
like,
in
no, this
trouble.
is the pinnacle.
What he really thinks is that it is probably in trouble because it already peaked
No.
with She-Hulk.
Yeah, it peaked with She-Hulk. Right. It's not in trouble because Guardians is going to bring back the goodwill of the people.
The people
It doesn't matter if it's connected to anything. People don't
then-
care about that.
They're
They
not,
want to see
people are not gonna
The
go
Marvels is
Mar-
going to take
they're not
that
gonna go
goodwill
into
and
the
throw it in
Marvels.
the garbage disposal.
They're not going into
That's
the
probably
Marvels
true.
like, man,
See-
that Guardians movie was so good. I bet this one will be too. That ain't how it works.
They know it's
Here's
not
my
connected.
problem
No,
with
it'll bring 'em-
discussions about the Marvels is that there are people who really want to hate that film and people who really want to love that
Yeah, the
film.
Marvels is
And I
pretty
do not
divisive.
follow into either one of those camps
Yeah.
currently.
Those
Yeah,
are
yeah.
like, I don't
I'm
go
gonna
into-
give it
I
the
don't have an
benefit of the
agenda
doubt.
on this stuff, and some of it on either side of the aisle
Mhm.
is an agenda. I mean, you're always
Mhm.
going to have some
Well,
of
on
that.
both sides of, especially with the
Yeah, there's
Marvels.
both.
Yeah.
Yeah, some people want to hate it for whatever reason, and then there
Yeah.
are some that demand that you better love it, or you're this or that or the other, right? And I'm not into any of it.
I mean,
Yes,
I think
we
there's got
only
to be
want to
some.
see what we
I
like.
think there's got to be some nuance there. You
You've
can't.
got to have a
you can't-
good mix, and
You can't blanket that. Yeah.
you
Well,
can
but
establish
here's-
a character that you don't. You can establish a lower level
Here's-
character. They did it with Guardians.
Here's
They brought them up to a higher
Yes.
level because it was a good show.
But
But they
also,
haven't done that with any of these characters.
but also looking comics and just some as a current DC Comics reader, I mean, at the end of the day, they do keep using the same characters because they're the ones that sell.
Of course. Yeah.
Sometimes there are characters that rocket up like Guardians in the comics.
There's always going to be a
Like
Superman
Rocket,
and a
like
Batman.
Rocket.
I mean,
yes.
yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, they want to bring Barry Allen back, or I mean, they brought back
Look,
Alan Scott.
It's going to be
and Alan Scott's got
okay.
kids now. And,
Wolverine's still around in the comics.
We've
right?
got
He's still
Star
active
Fox.
into the
We've
story.
got
So
Star
that's-
Fox.
that's the
all
tough-
we need. Harry Styles, Star
That's
Fox.
the
That's all
tough-
we need.
And
difference
Patton
with-
Oswalt as
As a
what's
Pippin or whatever.
Yep.
The
Yeah.
problem is we're
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the medium of film where death does need to be final in a sense. Though I do again think for big events.
Somehow
you
the
can have
Emperor
some death.
returned. Somehow the Emperor returned.
somehow Kang returned. We don't know.
And listen to Fat Maddox's point.
Yeah. No, and they can't. They can't.
You're
You're right.
right. But
right.
you have, as the studio has to elevate those characters so
Mhm.
that they can carry a narrative.
It's
And
all about
they have
story, guys.
not
It's all about story.
done that with the current crop of MCU characters.
You don't think Shang-Chi could carry?
Nope.
I mean,
I actually
I don't
think
think
Shang-Chi
Carrie yet,
could.
but I think
I think he's on the path to he can.
think
He
so.
can't
I
right
think a
now.
couple-
You
I
say
think
that,
he's on the right path.
What about
But
Coco
you
Can?
like the movie,
No.
right? But you like the movie, so you say that for that reason. I mean, is there what
but
about the
audiences
character-
liked the movie a lot. I mean, the audience scores
Well,
show
maybe
that.
maybe that's right. I just like I want to hear the.
I want a Namor movie.
Well,
I think a lot
Namor.
of this is character driven and character based, where if that character is like shows some of these like leadership skills like Captain America, like Iron Man did, I think it sets up not only the actor to lead it from the outside, but also for him to step in and be like, because I think that's the biggest thing like the MCU is missing is like these leaders. Spider-Man's not going to be telling Bucky
That's fair.
Barnes what to do.
No,
That's
You know what I
fair.
mean? Like from an actual like story standpoint, they're missing some of that. And I think Shang-Chi's
Riri
the
Williams
guy that
will.
could do that. No,
What's up?
Riri Williams. Also, I would not take orders from her.
And-
don't
and
worry.
I think they
In
wanted to
Star
do
we
that. With,
trust.
well, no,
But-
they wanted to do that with Captain Marvel, and I don't think they can now. I think from a
She's
fan
supposed to be the leader of the Avengers.
engagement
I
standpoint,
kind
Haley
of
that
Steinfeld.
disagree.
Haley
I kinda
Steinfeld, I think,
disagree with
could
that.
definitely elevate herself to that role.
I could-
Florence
I would
Pugh.
Wilson-
I would
I
do
think-
what she told me.
Yeah, I would too.
I think Sam Wilson as Captain America is going to work more than you
I
guys are
think he's a
letting
good
on.
leader. Yeah, I
I
think
think
he'll
that's
be
going
fine.
to work more
I
than
think
you're
he's
letting
gonna-
on.
yeah.
They're going to make it. They're going to make him be that, and I don't know if
I
it
think
will
he
feel
can be.
genuine.
He can.
I don't think he
Before-
does not have the
I-
charisma that Steve Rogers had.
Sam
Well,
Wilson does
Before the Sam Wilson show, I would have
I
agreed
don't know
with
if
you.
I'd go there.
I don't know if they. I don't like how they played it out in the show. I just the show was just so underwhelming to me
when
that
he and
it
Bucky
worries
were
me.
together, it
There
was
some
good.
chemistry.
There was some good
There was some
chemistry
Yeah,
there.
but
and
I'm not talking about
that's
chemistry.
stuff
I'm
in
not talking about
general.
chemistry. I'm talking about the charisma to carry a franchise and lead the team and give orders and be the guy. And they've not developed that character to that. It will
I
seem
don't know.
disingenuous. You guys are just saying words. It's like you're saying words that you think you're supposed to say.
No, I believe that Anthony Mackie has the charisma to do
I like
that.
Anthony Mackie.
I think Anthony Mackie does. I don't know if the
I'm waiting for
character
New
of
World
Falcon
Order.
does right now. I think we need to see some serious steps from that character in New World.
Melissa, do you have anything to shut Red up, please?
I don't.
Because that, like, he'll let you talk.
go.
He won't let the rest of us talk. He'll let you talk, though.
I don't.
Go ahead. You look great.
I don't.
I'm not. I don't mean to. I'm not. I don't mean to diminish. I'm just being silly.
It's fine. I'm just out of my depth here. I have no idea. I want to see the next one. I don't know.
You're like I don't. What are you talking about? I don't care. I like
Just show me more Ant-Man.
Give me some movies to watch. Yeah. I get that.
I don't necessarily need another one of those, but I'm looking forward to the rest.
Where's
of
the
it.
feeder bar? I want to hit the feeder
It's
bar.
okay to just want to watch movies, and I'm okay. Any of you who like Ant-Man more than me, that's okay. If you like Thor: Love and Thunder,
You just spent 2 hours saying it wasn't okay, Rhett.
No, it's okay for you to like it. It's not. We are different. We are not just here to talk about whether the movie is good or bad. We see more than that because we love this crap. We like this kind of conversation, and we like to discuss the broader view. So we do feel differently about the normal person who goes to see Ant-Man. My 16-year-old daughter, she's like, yeah, I liked it. It was pretty good. All right. She does not know that, well, there has been a downward trend in box office for the MCU. I wonder which of the characters will carry the narrative. That ain't how she thinks.
And to be fair, that's not how most people think.
Not everybody has to think that way, and that's okay. But we are here because we do, so it's okay to call it out.
We are here because we can stare into Tanwi's eyes and see the galaxy.
Oh my gosh! Did you see it? They sparkle. And Melissa, to Melissa's point, she's a little bit further removed from this. She doesn't eat, breathe, and live this crap the way we do. And she's like, you know what? It's a pretty fun movie. I'd like to see more fun movies. And that's okay to say too, but that's not exactly what this discussion is. And even people like that, when they, over time, when there is a dip in the quality, when the narrative becomes convoluted, that person will start to fall out of your base. And when that happens, it's hard to get them back. And right now, the MCU doesn't appear to have a great path, a roadmap to get those kind of people back and to retain people who might be on the edge, because we love this crap and we all feel it, except for Michael and Earl, who think everything is fantastic.
I don't think everything. I did not give this movie 5 stars. I did not give this movie 5 stars.
I'm not talking about this movie. You guys are like, you get the right cast for Fantastic Four, and it's better than Endgame. You get that little girl from Miss Marvel. She really connects to people. She's the next RDJ.
She's going to be awesome.
I never said any of that.
No, I heard it. I
guess
it was all subtext, but we said it.
Oh, it's all
subtext.
It's like you're subtweeting me. It's okay.
Amon Villani.
I just want a lot of sparkly lights flashing up at the screen at me, and I'm like, look at the colors.
Earl had a seizure during the show.
That's right. And, I missed half of it. And I had a great time.
So much color. He's like, oh my God.
Look at the guy with a light for a head. That's awesome.
Well, this has been
5 stars. Would see again.
This has been a really great episode of Rhett Letter Media.
Rhett's Rant.
I can't wait for 3 weeks from now when this is a Deucecast epised.
He posted this on his Facebook just so he could take it over and
no, he was trying to get us views.
If it came across that way, I am sorry, but I am passionate. Like I like, we all like this kind of crap.
Yeah.
We like these kind of talks.
I love these talks.
I guess I'm not as concerned because I honestly do feel like Guardians is going to help. Marvel's I am a bit concerned about, but then we supposedly right away have something that's called Captain America. Now, people might not know that Sam Wilson is Captain America if they didn't watch Captain America or if they didn't understand the ending. Well, the good thing is, even if they didn't watch that show,
Would
those
they
people
not
saw the.
understand the ending. They
No, no, no.
literally
No,
took
no,
the
no.
title
You
card.
gotta do
That's what I was
better.
about to say. They may not have watched Captain America and the Winter Soldier, but they
Lucky.
did see the end of Endgame. So for them, the narrative works because they saw Cap hand the
He
shield
passed
over
the
to
shield
Sam.
off to him.
So
yeah.
even if they didn't watch that show,
Yeah.
um,
The
that's-
narrative ain't going to be the problem for that movie.
I think it'll that
It's the character.
I don't know. Yes,
Tim Blake
exactly.
Nelson's back as the leader in the film.
Exactly, and I agree with this. I mean,
Yeah, that's right.
I
we
think
want-
that people do
Yeah, I don't
want
think
that, Rhett.
people
I mean,
hate that as much as you
People-
think, right?
In-universe people? Or
what are you
or
talking
fans.
about? No, comic book fans where Sam Wilson does
That's-
become.
See, but
I mean,
again, well, and I don't know, dude, it's late.
Just wrap it.
No, it's not
It
even
is
10
late.
o'clock here.
yeah, in Wyoming, it's
Yeah.
not late.
he's still
Look,
got to go
that's
to
a
the
deeper
diner later. He's going to
conversation.
Denny's
I
diner later.
I got 7
Oh,
minutes.
I went on Tuesday night.
I love it. I would have too. I wish I
You
could have
went-
gone.
You went to what on Tuesday night?
The diner.
Denny's diner.
Oh,
Sherry's
man, I
Diner.
wish we had a diner.
It was
Golly.
good.
All we have here is Waffle House. That's 24 hours. There's nothing else 24 hours. here.
Whataburger, but it's garbage.
Dude, it
It's
is garbage.
inedible crap.
It is. It is.
How
All
do you
right, we
feel
need to
about
end
that,
this.
Texan?
No.
The Texan
We need
needs
to
to
end it.
reply to that. Melissa, what do you think about Whataburger?
Whataburger's
I mean-
an amazing
Oh,
experience.
oh, Fett.
Yeah, we just went off on a.
All right. Might as well just end it. All of it. Every
Thank you very much.
last.
Thanks for our listeners.
Hey.
If you've hung in with us, thank you.
The next time we'll be back here, we'll be talking about Shazam on a Thursday. So that'll be fun.
All
The
right.
Captain
Shazam.
Marvel,
I'm
the real
excited
Captain
about it.
Marvel.
Do you know how low that movie is
Shazam Lee.
tracking? That movie is
Oh, yeah.
tracking so low right now.
Oh, those
that it
DC,
is-
those DC
Dude,
movies are not going to do
who
well.
the
These
heck-
last couple.
The
Maybe Flash,
only
maybe Flash.
DC movie that's going to do well that's left
It's
in
Flash.
this slate is The Flash, and that is
Yeah.
because
Batman's.
nostalgia, and also it's going to be a good film from what I understand.
Yeah.
But
And every poster that's come out is Batman centric.
yeah, heck yeah, I'd be promoting the heck out of Michael Keaton. I'd be promoting
Yeah.
him more than Ezra Miller.
It's smart marketing.
Yeah,
It's
it is.
smart
Yeah,
marketing.
it'll be good despite itself. I think.
Despite itself. But it's also like
Oh.
audiences are loving it too, the
And
ones that have seen it. I mean, and
Machete-
Zaslav says it's the best superhero film he's ever, but he'd say that.
I think Machete's a good director too. Andy Machete, who
Oh, I
direct-
think he
he's
is
the
too,
director
yeah.
of It.
When you, I thought you said Machete.
Yeah,
I
Machete.
was like,
What?
oh, he's in this.
That's a hard
That's
turn.
referencing too. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Eddie
Machete,
Trejo directed the film.
Yeah,
no,
take
no.
credit.
I agree with yeah, I agree that he is a really good director.
said
Even
it?
though did he
It
direct
chapter 2 has some issues, but It chapter 1 that showed
It
off
was
his
good.
chops. Yeah,
All right, Garrison, where can people find you?
you can find me on Twitter at GRYFUN3 or not, and you can find me on the Instagram as well. You can find my letterbox at GRYFUN GRYFUN and on the Discord. I'm
Discord.
kind of tired. I got to be up a little early. So.
I know we keep, I need to.
What?
If we
You
need
gotta
to
learn-
revamp this to be,
Why
some
why
other
did you
day.
do? That's another.
I
thing.
see where this is
I'll-
going.
I'll
We're like, we
chastise
need
you
to,
later.
we've got too many people. We need to drop.
Hey,
something.
Rhett, what day are you not available? That's what Mikey's going to hit you with.
No,
That.
no. I just don't. I don't want anybody to be. I don't know. Whatever. I don't sleep, so I'm indifferent.
I've written
So-
another 3 hours.
and it's
before
only
you
it's
get
only
started.
it's only 9 a.m. in Wyoming. So I mean,
Fun
Oh,
fact.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
getting ready for my steamboat vacation tomorrow.
Ah.
where can
Mm.
people find you on the interwebs, and what's coming next for the podcast?
Yes, Roth from Wyoming, Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, and the Discord as well. Good day for a movie podcast available where you find podcasts. The last one was Paris, Texas. The next one, we're staying with this Marvel kick. Captain America
That's
and
right.
or Captain America: Civil War with David Dollar.
Mm.
Oh,
That's-
That's
nice.
his favorite MCU
Mhm.
film.
Has
Mhm.
Sage seen that?
We'd all seen it before.
Oh, okay.
Unsurprisingly, Sage is not a fan of the MCU. He thinks like 85% of it is garbage. So
Rhett, you might like Sage.
Sage also
Yeah.
thought
Sage.
no.
I like
He also
Wallace.
thought
No.
Raiders was garbage.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that really hurt me.
I could not abide by
That's
that
weird.
when he
No.
said
There
that.
was a very funny point
Not
where
normal.
it was after the podcast. David goes, "So Sage, what movies do you like?"
Yeah. What did he
David
say?
Dollar said that?
So
No,
he's
I
like-
I don't want to be spoiled. I want to listen to it.
I don't know if I think we
Oh,
we
you
weren't
didn't-
recording anymore,
was
but
after
I
the
think he was
podcast.
like, "No, there has been some. Like I liked Heat. I liked
Well, Heat's a good movie.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
Movies
got
like
good
that.
taste. All right, Rhett. You
Yeah,
want people to find you anywhere?
I've got a website. I've come join the forums there. It's mcuisdying.k12.
K12?
Is that like an education website?
It's an education. K12.edu.
Are you-
Brett, I'm
What
gonna
are
let you in
you?
on something. I don't think you should be on at .k12.
Oh, that's mustache.
No, yeah.
No, yeah. Dr. Earl, you're off the grid, but sometimes can be found in the pretentious corner on the Discord. So if anybody wants to reach Dr. Earl, put a message in the Discord and he'll see it in a month.
I'll see it like 3 months from then.
Yeah, 3
The time it
months,
takes for a
whatever.
carrier pigeon to reach from like
That's
LA to
exactly.
New York is the time you'll see it.
I'm just trying to
Exactly.
find a way to get to my bed upstairs right now. So.
I know. We're getting there. We're getting there. Melissa, it was a big day for you in the podcast realm, at least.
Yeah.
I forgot.
I loved it. I loved it. It was
Oh,
great.
thank you so much.
It was
Yeah.
really good. Talk about it.
All right, so the Food for Thought cast dropped today, and it'll be out every Thursday. Next week, we have our first guest for episode 2. So stay tuned, and you can find us at the Food for Thought cast on Facebook and Instagram, or at foodforthoughtcast.com, and you can find me at That's Ms. Chef, Instagram, Twitter, and in the Discord and Letterboxd.
Awesome. And we will be back here next Tuesday for some more Bad Batch and the season finale of 1923. So that'll be fun. And then in a couple weeks, we got more Mando. Oh my goodness. We'll and then sometime in March will be the next Thursday night one where we will talk about Shazam Fury of the Gods. Is that what it's called?
Sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Who
That's what
knows?
it's
Who
called.
knows?
That's what it's
I
called.
really appreciate everybody hanging out. Fett, especially, who hung out the longest. I think Brian was in there for a while. Mackenzie, who I'm a huge fan of, she was in there for a while. Josh stopped by. That was awesome to see Josh. And then, of course, Aussie Nate early on. I
Ted
really
was there,
appreciate the
too.
chat. Oh, Ted, that's
thank you,
right.
Ted.
And
Brian.
it was awesome to see all y'all hanging out in the chat. It makes it fun for us to see people in the chat participating in this. And we will catch you guys on Tuesday for more Deucecast Extra. Hope everyone has a great night.